Very good evening to all of you. So, on behalf of Vision IAS and you, I am welcome to Mr. Nandala Saikiran.
Hello, is my audio perfect? Able to hear clearly, right? Yeah, okay. So, I'm Saikiran. Good afternoon to everybody. I have secured All India rank 27 in this UPSC Civil Services Examination 2023. Today, first, we'll go in a structured manner on how my preparation went and what are my strategies and what is my view on this examination and how am I able to crack this. Okay, and so you can take inputs from this talk. So, first, a brief background about me. So, I did my schooling and everything in Karimnagar. After that, I did graduation in NIT Warangal in Electronics and Communication Engineering stream. So, I graduated in 2018. Post that, I have been working in a company in MNC called Qualcomm as a hardware systems engineer. And my entire preparation I have done with a full-time job. And so in 2022 attempt, I went till interview stage, and this year I'm able to get 27th rank. So this is a brief background, and so today I'll discuss what is my view on this examination, how I saw this examination, and how did I begin this UPSC journey, and my timelines, my resources, view on prelim stage and main specific things, optional essay, and also more importantly, looking back down the line of 2.5 years, what specific things worked for me. So maybe those things, maybe if you can implement, if it suits you, that can help you people as well. Okay. Yeah. So let's start. So first of all, I'll write my score, like score sheets and how I scored. So you'll get an idea of how I did. So in 2022, my prelims I cleared just by 0.4 or 0.5 above the cutoff. I think it's around 85 something. Yeah, I can write. How to erase it? So plus 0.4 I'll write. I don't remember the marks exactly. And coming to mains, essay it's 106. And my optional is sociology. So in 2023, so prelims marks were around 97 point something, 6 or something, 97.6 something, 115. So and personality test. Okay, so this is my journey over the 2 years. And one specific thing is everybody giving this attempt or like next attempt, most people next attempt, right? Okay. So if you see in the mains, so there is a plus 100, exactly 100 marks improvement, 737 to 837, and this is like 20 marks. In prelims also it's around 20 marks above the cutoff. So the reason I'm telling is I did a lot of mistakes in my first attempt. A lot of mistakes as in there are like so many knowledge gaps and errors I did. So because of the reason I was not able to crack in first 2022. So the reason to write both of them is you people should not do these kind of things and do everything good in the first attempt itself. So that's why so I wrote brief about this marks list and everything. And so to start, first question is how to start UPSC journey. How we start UPSC preparation and what are the resources we follow and what are the timelines we need to do. So first important thing, so I wanted to give 2022 attempt examination. So since I'm working, so generally we need to start at least 1 year before the actual examination cycle starts. So time is a factor for me because I'm working. So I have started 1.5 years before. So my preparation journey started in December 2020, January 2021. So where I have started my preparation. So in the initial 1-2 months, my entire focus was to understand the UPSC examination, the syllabus, the pattern, and what is the attitude and aptitude I need to develop so that I'll be suitable for this examination. I'll be suitable for the services. So entire first initial months is like research, like it's kind of a research work just to see, just to so get myself familiar with the process. So that was the motivation. So initially, so it's just like, see, if you want to do anything before, see, you should not jump into it directly. You should know the thing in and out. So that makes your job a lot easier because UPSC journey, like the syllabus and everything is like an ocean. And without a compass in your hand, right, you can't go anywhere. So whoever starting this journey in the initial stage, it's very important to get to know in and out about this UPSC. So for this initially, I extensively used the blogs of previous toppers, their YouTube videos, especially the talk in their Vision IAS and all. So that helped me in such a way that to understand what are the things worked for the people who did it already, and what are the things I can take from each one of them which suits me, so that I will be I can able to do it also. So this was my motivation when I started. So so for people starting this UPSC preparation, see, first thing is understanding UPSC, the nature of the examination and everything. Second thing, start with the basic books. So basic books as in like people can pick NCERTs. I didn't do NCERTs much. I did only for economy. I read 9th, 10th and +1, +2 economies books. And initial stage for polity I used Lakshmikant. And geography, I didn't read NCERTs directly. And history also, I started with the Spectrum. So these are the initial books I've started, I've used during my initial, just to build the base, just to build the foundation, just to get familiar with the UPSC process. And when I started with, so these are the first 2 months of journey. I started with reading newspaper, but initially it was very overwhelming. The language and the subject knowledge it is trying to tell, everything is overwhelming. So such that I know how to read, how to analyze everything. So it's better you take help in the initial stages. That I did only for like initial 2-3 months. After that I started reading on my own. And my outlook entire thing was to do in mains oriented preparation only. I never seen till February 5th, 2022. So I started in Jan 2021. Entire 1 year, my outlook and my everything is only in mains oriented. So it's like integrated orient, I would say, of the examination preparation rather than prelims. So actually starting with mains will give you a lot of edge because it will give you that conceptual clarity. It will give you the foundation to learn in a more broad way, and it will give the conceptual clarity because the outlook we get in mains preparation is very good. So for the people who starting preparation, so just understand the process, go with the reference book, start reading the newspaper, do in an integrated approach. So this is how it will be a good foundation to start the UPSC, and in the process itself you will learn a lot. So once you get started, so it's all about getting started with the right things in your hand. So once you get started, it will give you, you will be getting into the flow. So this is how I started my UPS journey, first 2 months. So I'll give you the broad timelines and how I did. So 2022 prelims. So Feb 15th to May end 2022, it's all prelims preparation. So I'll go back into the clock. So Jan and Feb 2022, I prepared for essay and ethics. Because it's very important, you should be mains ready before giving your prelims itself. That will give you an edge, because the main aim in mains is just to be very above the cutoff when you're writing first time itself. That will be a good thing to do, and you can come out of that vicious cycle of mains. So October, November, December. So during these 5 months, I completed my optional sociology and I read polity. So here I did with, so you can take December 2020 also. So here I did like all the basic books like Lakshmikant, NCRTs for Indian economy, and all the basic kind. This is like a foundation stage, which I utilized to learn things and building that base. So here I read main topics, governance, because I got something that like I got some base for the preparation journey. And if you see the topics like governance, social justice, internal security, disaster management. So these are like very main specific oriented, and so it's very syllabus specific, these subjects. So it's better you can complete them very well before in your journey. And here I completed my like economy, agriculture, science and tech bit topics, and GS1 may like geography, art and culture. So I read remaining topics just to be both mains and prelim specific. So this is how my timelines were, and how I did before giving my 2022 attempt, a broad timelines. So in for next second attempt, it's not a specific timeline size per se, because we have to improve where we are lacking, that's it. So this is the broad timelines I designed for myself, so that I'll be completing everything before prelims, before I start full-fledged prelims oriented preparation itself. I completed all my main syllabus at least once. I tried to make notes. I made extensive notes for sociology, my optional, before itself, and for big topics like economy, polity, like especially governance, social justice. I made my notes. I started writing answers using previous year questions only specifically. I'll talk about all these things in a detailed manner later, how to do answer writing and all. But I tried to be mains ready as much as possible before giving my prelims attempt itself. So these are the things I did before starting in my preparation journey. So the important thing also is that we have to be ready with essay, and because like most people will allot it post prelims, essay and ethics preparation also. But it's better you complete this ethics preparation and essay preparation before you start prelims, because you will get a lot of confidence after prelims that you will be in improving mode rather than reading something in a new mode. So these are the specific things which I think it will be helpful for people giving their first attempt, first mains. So because it's better to do everything in the first attempt itself, even if it takes some time. Okay, so this is the broad timelines I followed. So coming to resources list, I'll give the resources list as and when I talk about particular subject. Okay, so this is just broad things about how to start preparation and all. So we'll jump over to prelims preparation. How I did my prelims preparation and how why I'm able to just cross it by 0.4. Huge luck involved here. And here, without much preparation, the thing to note here is, so my interview was on May 1, 2023, 2022 attempt. So I came back from Delhi after like it takes 3-4 days, and results were on 23rd May 2023, and prelims was on May 28th. So hardly I got only 20 days for my 2023 prelims, but I'm able to do it by like more than 22 marks above the cutoff, with much less preparation, and some things worked here. So I'll talk about my overall prelims preparation strategy and 2022 versus 2023 performance and my outlook in both the attempts. Okay, so first thing, so the best thing I did is before like starting preparation in February for prelim specific, so that 1 year of main specific preparation, which I covered almost all the prelims topics also. First thing is that was of very great help and it was a very good foundation stone, because when you read in mains mode, you always get a very broad and bigger picture, which really helps in solving prelims questions. Because rather than just like a question and answer type, if you have a broad outlook and a bigger view and many, you can connect the dots, you can able to recognize the patterns, and that will help you a lot. So first thing is the mains integrated preparation helped me a lot. And second thing I did in that 3 months is I used to take each subject, I used to revise it, that particular subject, and when I read that particular subject, I used to write sectional test. So this I did in 2022, writing sectional test. So mock test, writing test is a very important thing to do, because see how I use a mock test as in, see for example, if I write test for 2 hours, I used to analyze the tests I have written for more than 2 hours, 2.5 hours. So it doesn't matter how many tests you write, but the analyzing part of your test is very important, and that is must to do. How I used to analyze my mock test when I write prelims. See for example, always think in such a way that, see why you get some particular question wrong. So when you write tests, right, you get some particular questions wrong. So how to analyze it, how to do it? I used to do in this approach. See for example, when I write some mock test and I used to get some certain marks, I used to take all the questions where I went wrong and where I went right also. I used to categorize in some particular divisions. So it's like A division is the questions I got wrong where I don't have any knowledge. It's like because of lack of knowledge gaps you have. So it's a knowledge gaps. So this will happen when you're giving first attempt. There will be so many knowledge gaps. It's okay because everybody will have the knowledge gaps and you have to improve on it. And second thing is like missing of that conceptual clarity. So because we'll be having some knowledge, but that knowledge may not be enough to solve the question completely. And maybe because of some conceptual clarity, we won't be able to arrive at the answer correctly. So these are like conceptual clarity mistakes. And C is like we do wrong even when we know everything correctly. That happens, right? So the essence of mock test also to reduce that, because even if you're able to reduce 2 to 3 questions mistakes like that in the final examination, it's 6 marks. Scoring 6 marks is huge in prelims. So it's like errors, I'll say. Errors are like silly mistakes. So how I used to do, so I wrote very less sectional test, like tests altogether. In my maybe like 2020 attempt, I did around 10 to 12 sectional tests and 7 to 8 full length tests, that's all. But what I did is, whatever I wrote, I used to sit and analyze, yes, where are my knowledge gaps and which topics. So whichever topic I have knowledge gap, I used to read that heavily and to get that clarity. So these two things will help to revise your syllabus actively, uh, to see where you are lacking and where you have to improve. So when you find out that why you are doing some silly mistakes, maybe because of in hurry or because of something, you are able to reduce that also. So the essence is, when you are in that 3 months of preparation journey before prelims, right? The essence is to reduce these errors as much as possible, because see, knowledge gaps you can nullify knowledge gaps to much extent. Errors also. This conceptual clarity depends on the toughness of the question, the variety of the questions they are asking. So this also comes more with the practice and problem solving ability. So this is the thing I used to do, how to analyze my mock test. This is one of the approach. And second thing I used to do is mock test is to find my accuracy level. Because see, it's all about attempting how many questions you have to attempt and how much you accurate you to be. See, for example, if you are attempting 90 questions and if you are getting 60 correct, so that means 120 minus 30 into 2 by 3, 20 minus 20. So it's like you will be getting 100 marks if you attempt 90 and if you get 60 correct. So you have to be 60 by 90, 66% accurate in the questions you are attempting. So it's just like the probability and how many you want to attempt, how much accurate you to get. So whatever test I used to write, I used to calculate my accuracy, how much accurate I am in solving anything. See, it differentiates from people to people. Some people will be more accurate, so they can solve less number of questions. Some people, see, I'm not that accurate in solving questions. I used to attempt a lot. So you need to find out accuracy, and to find out in which subjects I'm lacking and which subjects I'm doing good, I used to do this accuracy thing in every subject. See, for example, polity mein how much accurate I am. See, for example, in a test like polity, if we get like 15 to 18 questions, how many questions I'm attempting, how much accurate I am. So the essence is in that 3 months to improve the accuracy and to find out what are the strong areas. So for me, polity, economy, and science and tech, and international relations are like strong areas. When I solved questions, right? So I used to attempt that in the prelims examination firstly, to get that confidence and to get that flow going. And this accuracy, finding your accuracy also helps you on which subjects to focus and how to improve your knowledge base in the subject. So this how I used to analyze my prelims mock test. So analyzing prelims mock test is very important, and just going on writing, even if you like write many tests, the incremental output you will be getting is very minute. But if you are deep into the analysis and where your mistakes are, and if you improve that problem solving ability from test to test, trust me, like you will minimize the errors and the marks are going to improve. So in the prelims. And so another thing is, when I write first prelims mock test, right, I used to get 50, 60, 55, 65, 70, and that everybody get, and even lesser than that sometimes. So the only thing is, you always look for improvement, where the improvements are, where you are doing errors, by going in deeply, like each subject, in each subject, each syllabus areas, where you are going wrong and where you are like improve. So that will finally give you a lot of edge in prelims, and the marks really is going to improve. Like I started from 50, 60, and I even used to score like above 100, 110 in many marks. So it's all because you analyze your marks and you read. So this is the first thing, analyzing marks. And second thing is, I would say active revision. So there are two kinds of revision when you read a subject. So there's a like revision normally passive and revision active. So the difference is, when you might be like you read a particular subject for 1 or 2 times before. if you're taking the same amount of time, and even if you're taking 80 to 90, 70% of the time which you read for the first time, so it's like again you're reading the same content, again you're reading the same content without application of much mind. So active revision is in the sense is when I see a same topic, I used to actively remember what are all the main things in that particular topic. So uh, it's like making your mind think a lot before actually reading the content. So this kind of helped me a lot because time is always a factor for me. I don't have much time to revise, read something. So when you do things actively, that so for example, when I pick up Lakshmikant for the third or fourth time, like polity, when I want to read the polity for third or fourth time during my prelims preparation. So when you come across a legislature topic, so you don't have to, I won't be reading again anything from the scratch, everything. I used to remember things, so like legislature, we have all these topics, all these dimensions, these are some critical points in the legislature. So then I used to read. So when you do this actively, right, so what happens, whenever, whatever things you won't remember, when you read again, so your mind will get that shock that, acha, like these things you don't remember. And um, when you remember things, and you'll get that confidence that, acha, you're making a progress in the subject. So that's what, like, active revision is very, very important, and it will help you reduce the time a lot. And sometimes, like, entire polity you can complete in like one day, half day, like within like very less time. So that is one more input I can give: active revision, analyzing mock test. So mains integrated preparation helps a lot in prelims. And fourth thing is current affairs. So don't get scared of current affairs. And one thing I observed is no institute magazine will be suffice for current affairs in examination. Like all the things are good, like PT 365 and different institutes magazines are good, but just that itself is not enough. And newspaper reading is must, and you have to develop that habit over the year, because the questions are not direct per se. It's always linked to some big picture, broad picture, and you can find, if you are in this game for 1 year and reading current affairs like daily, reading newspaper daily, you will get that knack of getting things, and you will get that knack of linking the current affairs to a static part, because everything is linked to the core part, that is the syllabus, static syllabus. So don't look current affairs in isolation mode. So always current affairs is linked to your core syllabus. Always see current affairs in that manner, and newspaper reading is must. And you spend so much of time on newspapers, especially for the topics like international relations, the world page. Either if you pick Indian Express or Hindu, international newspaper world page is very, very important, because one more thing. So most people miss this international relations topic when it comes to prelims. But if you see the trend of last 2-3 years, I think last year around 7 to 8 questions came from international relations topic itself. And most of the things can be done if you read a newspaper thoroughly, the world newspaper. It won't take much time to read that a special paper, and a lot of people will miss that. So for international relations, for topics like science and technology, even for topics like environment and environment, newspaper reading helps a lot. Even the topics like economy. Economy is like, how newspaper reading will be important is like the trends you get. So most of the times the questions in prelims related to economy are human and economic geography is related to the broad trends, and they'll give some data points. If you develop the habit of reading newspaper, so you will be able to like see whether the information they are giving is accurate, or they are trying to like fool us. So if you develop the habit of reading newspaper, these topics you will be able to solve easily in prelims. Because like, see, polity and polity, economy, history, keep it aside. Like even polity, I don't see much from current affairs. It's like you have to be thorough with your static syllabus. But for current affairs topic, you have to do all these things. So this is how I did, and this helped me. So why my score jumped this much? So this year cutoff is 75 something, right? So it's like 22 marks above the cutoff. So the thing is, see, for this interview, I read newspaper extensively for this interview preparation. So that kind of helped me to gauge and to answers. I got the knack in understanding the big picture. Actually, that helped me in prelims preparation. I didn't read current affairs at all for going 2023 attempt because I didn't have time also. I just jumped in. By revising, for 2023 attempt, I just revised my static syllabus. I wrote 2 mock tests and I went to examination. So the thing is, the outlook I got, especially from last 1 year. See, after this prelims, I did mains preparation. And this mains preparation, it's like I got more conceptual clarity. And reading this newspaper, I got more that broader outlook, which helped me in these prelims. So if you should make a habit of reading newspaper. Don't spend much time in newspaper also. I use initially it will take a time, but as you go on, you should limit it to 45 minutes or less than 1 hour. So that is optimization, that improvement you need to see. So this newspaper reading helps a lot in prelims preparation, especially in the topics areas I discussed. And other thing is you should focus on all the subjects, especially the static heavy subjects, like core subjects. I would say that are like low hanging fruits where many people will be solving and you shouldn't miss out. Like questions like from polity or economy and some questions from history. History like is the toughest part, but like there's some questions in history which can be solvable easily. Shouldn't miss out on the obvious ones. So you shouldn't miss out on the obvious ones, and you should do something extra to solve trickier questions. When you do that right, you will beat the competition. So that is how you develop how I see things. And yeah, other thing is the most debatable thing is the elimination methods, whether they will work or not, and how to go about it. The examination pattern is changing, and they're making the options more tougher. Not just now, even previously, right? There are no crude elimination methods. See, it's all like logical analysis. It's like all connecting the dots. Yes, this logical analysis, they made it more tougher by making the options tough. Because sometimes we won't be having clear information in all the subparts of the question they gave. So, see, don't run after like elimination methods. Don't rely on elimination methods. It's all logical thinking. It's all taking that risk and knowing the probability in solving the questions. So don't run after elimination methods. Just with the core knowledge, with good conceptual clarity, with problem solving ability, this can be done. In any preparation can be done. See, one thing in 2023 prelims is they made some questions tougher by giving pairs. Only 2 pairs are correct, 3 pairs are 4 pairs are correct. But they made some questions easy by giving this assertion and reason things. Actually, they're kind of like easier to solve because the probability will be higher when you're solving those questions. So it's always like they balance it out. Don't get frightened on the pattern of the examination, how they give. It's always trust your instincts, be thorough with your preparation, having that problem solving mindset, get that logical analysis done and go for the examination. I think calm mind in the examination hall will pull you that extra 5 to 6 marks. That is a game changer. So that is what I can say regarding prelims. So this is how I see prelims. And one more important thing for prelims is, so kind of looking back, like it's almost 2.5, like 3 years of journey. Looking back, one thing helped me is I used to solve daily 5 questions prelims, right from February 2021 itself. So almost 1 year, 3 months, religiously I used to solve whatever the day it is, however the tough the day is, the work or anything. I used to solve 5 to 10 questions, sometimes 5, sometimes 10 questions. I used to do them every day in and day out for the 1 year. What happened when I did that is you will get that problem solving ability. You will able to get that logical mindset and how to analyze the questions, how to do that. If you do something over 1 year, right, you will be skilled enough to do something. So looking back, that actually helped me a lot in pulling this the most competitive part. I won't say the toughest part. This prelims is the most competitive part. For me, the toughest part is always mains, where because you have to be in the top cream to get good rank. So prelims is not the toughest, prelims is just the most competitive one. So you beat your competition by being very disciplined, by doing things the harder way, the smarter way, yeah, those things. So maybe like for people starting, if you have like 1 year timeline next year, always focus on getting the problem solving mindset and doing those 5 questions. I used to do many in this, I think Vision IS Telegram channel is there. They'll put 5 questions every day. And after 2 hours, they'll put some solutions. So I used to solve them daily for almost I did for 1 year, 3 months. And so that kind of helped me. And even for 2023, after mains is done, I know that my mains is not good enough. So even after that, I did 5 questions daily. So that kind of helps you a lot in so getting that, like it goes effortlessly also, because it won't be a burden, because you will be solving daily 5 and with that you can learn a lot of static concepts, you can learn problem solving ability, you will learn current affairs itself. So it's like doing things effortlessly, doing daily, that kind of helps. And in prelims itself, the second part is CSAT, and we all know that it is getting tougher every year. And so my strategy was like, actually I didn't do anything for my 2 attempts. What I did is I solved previous year questions of 5 to 6 years, and I went for the examination 2 times, and somehow I'm able to score above 100 in both attempts. But I sincerely request everybody because to focus so much on CSAT also, because it's getting tougher and tougher every year, and the lengthier also. So you won't be able to get time to solve even attempt all the questions because of the lengthiest nature of the paper, especially in the mathematics and this aptitude part. And even comprehension takes time. If you want to get accuracy, you have to spend a lot of time. So my approach for CSAT is, I think there are 26 to 27 questions from comprehension, right? So out of 80 questions, 26 to 27 questions from the comprehension part. I used to attempt all the 27 questions. Because like, see, it's like comprehension part, I found those are bit not easier, but which I can do. It's all comes to things, right? You can always eliminate 2 options in the comprehension part. It's now taking that 50-50 risk. And in always 2 options, you will be more inclined to something, some part. It's like 70-30 probability, 70 for one option, 30 for option. I should take risk. But I should take the risk because I saw last 5-6 years papers and I'm able to take the risk. So it all depends on your accuracy. So because like see 27, so always see 27, even if I get 20 or 22 correct, see 20, like let's say 22 correct, 20, like it's a 44 marks, and so it's 5 incorrect. So 5 into 2.5 by 3, so 13 by 3 is like 4. So I will be getting 38 to 40 in the comprehension itself. So I need to get just 26 in the mathematics. I used to get like 40 here, I used to get 60, 65 in the mathematics, like mathematics part. So that's how I'm able to score 100, 100, 110, 110 plus in my prelims. So this so my CSAT strategy was nothing. So I don't have much to explain, but please read read some like formulae and how to do, like read the process and how to answer the questions, uh, just like all the probability things, the ratios things and whatnot, like all the topics involved, just revise and solve few questions, solve few mock tests before going to the getting that confidence, and don't neglect it at any cost, because it's stopping many deserving people year in and year out from writing mains. So this is the most important thing and need to be done. So this is regarding prelims, and so next thing is mains oriented. So we'll be having Q&A at the last stage of the session. So I'll talk on all the areas, and whatever the questions you have, we can discuss at the end of the session. Okay. So see, mains for me is the most toughest part, because you have to get almost you have to be in the top range to get a good rank. So it is the most certain part, certain stage in the UPSC preparation, because see, prelims is uncertainty, and even interview if you take uncertainty. Mains is like a certain thing where you have a defined syllabus and where you know the pattern of the examination and where you know the weightage also. How many questions from geography come every year? How many questions from history come from every year? So these are most certain thing in this UPSC uncertainty examination. So this you have to make your weapon. So if you are strong in mains, so maybe even if some certain bad luck in 1 or 2 attempts, you can able to get with a good rank. So this means strong weapon you have to do before giving your first prelims itself. So I always saw mains is my thing which need to focus. So first thing, and it's like mains is also like a test match. So for example, if you watch cricket, so like I see prelims like an ODI match and interviews like just like T20, just 30 minutes conversation. But mains is the real game, and you have so for this mains examination, right? You have that you need to have that intellectual capability. You need to have that physical toughness to sit and write examination for 3 hours, day in day out for 3 days continuously. After ethics paper, you will literally your hand will pain, and you have to put it in the eyes to like cool it off. And so it tests your intellectual ability, it takes your physical toughness, it tests your mental stamina also. So that's why it's like the toughest, and actually you can enjoy this mains process and mains examination also. So this is how I see mains examination. And so I followed certain method to read for mains. Like not writing part, to read for mains, I did certain things to study mains, to study the topics. And I don't have a certain thing like this is my standard resource. I never followed one resource. For same topic, I used to follow multiple resources, one standard book, some like articles from different institutes, and even newspaper reading. Even if I used to do some Wikipedia search for some topics. So there's no one resource is there, but it's all like it's an amalgamation of everything. It's like combination of everything, like multiple topics which I use for mains. So my entire preparation is built on these foundations of reading like having structures and reading in through frameworks. Second is organizing the syllabus, organizing your content as per the syllabus. So this will give you a lot of conceptual clarity, and if you do this, you don't have to remember much also, because everything will be like a foundation in your mind. You can able to access every information if you go in an organized and structured manner. So, see, the reason I am emphasizing on all this because see, time was a major factor for me in entire this UPSC journey. So if I do in this kind of way where it is effortless for me to remember, revise, it will be helpful. Organizing the syllabus, it's like decoding the syllabus to a minute, it's like decoding the syllabus to a minute stuff possibilities. It's like note making. Then like you're presenting answer writing. So, so what is my thought process in the mains preparation? First thing is I used to take let's say I take a topic. I used to read the syllabus which is given by the UPSC. Okay, and there will be like you can decode the syllabus like to its sub dimensions, sub parts, sub things. Many institutes, articles have done it already, and based on previous year questions also you can do it. So that will give you the structure in your preparation. And in each sub-dimension, in each subtopic, there are some frameworks. For each, I will explain all this through how to read through structures and frameworks. For each subject, for each everything, they are like frameworks and dimensions that forms core part of a particular subject. If you understand and analyze and if you grasp the frameworks, it's like you can you can write any random question with a very good content based on these frameworks, and you can able to generate many dimensions, many points in the mains examination through frameworks, and this will give you the diversity of the points also, that will fetch you more marks. Otherwise you will most of the times, even if you fill the paper completely, the marks will be less because of lesser dimensions and only analyzing in a certain part. So this will give you sorry. So this will give you that edge. And organizing the syllabus and preparation is like building that foundations and that blocks in your mind. So to understand each and everything, reading according to the syllabus, so that you will be not reading the content whichever available in the market. Because see, these days what's happening is at certain point of time it's used to be there is a depth of content, now overflow of content. So once you are organized with the syllabus, once you are thorough with what to read, once you get the clarity on what to read, then just it's like filling the information from any resource you get. So it's organizing the syllabus, organizing your preparation. And this note making, see, for me, my entire preparation is on note making. Like I used to read anything and I used to make notes very concisely. Just that subheading parts. I don't used to write much of the information. I used to write this note making. Uh, this structures and frameworks, the organizing preparation will go into note making, and this note making, however concise, however broad, however diverse your topics are, it will come into your answer writing. And this answer writing, good answer writing with good content will fetch you good marks. So this is my flow of how to read, how to put into my notes. See, note making is like is my understanding of the subject. My understanding of the subject only will come into my answers. So if you just always read some reference material without making your own notes, answer writing won't have conceptual clarity. In people who are reading your answers will easily able to grasp whether you have conceptual clarity or not. So note making will give you that conceptual clarity, and this can be put into practice here. So one thing I forgot to mention, I created one Telegram channel where I'm keeping all my notes. I made comprehensive notes from my understanding for each subject, which contains all the important points, value addition which is needed, because this is how I'm able to score 100 plus in my second while batting second. So yeah, so it has value addition points and everything. So my Telegram ID is so this is my Telegram ID. You can like check if you find anything helpful. I'm writing detailed strategy in the Telegram post, and I'm giving my I posted my test papers. I posted my notes and some other things. You can refer to it, and if it find helpful, that will be good. That will be happy. So yeah. So, see, one thing is how to read through structures and having frameworks for each particular topic. So, many might already know this, but I'm just reiterating for everybody, and how I used to see a particular syllabus. Okay, so see, for example, there are many broad questions comes every year from like art and culture, from geography or everything. See, I'll take some particular subjects for particular topics as example, and I'll tell how to read through frameworks. Okay, so let's take a example of economic geography. So in economic geography, there is a thing called location of industries, right? And what are the factors responsible for the location of industries? So there might be like a number of industries, right, from primary, secondary to tertiary sector. But see, every industry, the location and everything depends on few particular things. And when you have a framework to analyze it, so you can answer any question based on the answer and giving some 10 examples. See, for example, the framework here it goes as see, for example, for any factor, for any production thing, right? First thing is factors of production, like all land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. So for any company to establish a particular subject, you need some see inputs, raw materials. So raw material availability, and second thing is the labor, skilled labor availability, and third thing is the capital availability needed, and fourth thing is the, say for example, for IT sector to come up, so we need that entrepreneurship skills and the startup culture, right? So these are four topics. And apart from that, see for example, it's a geography topic, and geography helps a lot in responsible for putting a certain industry at certain place. So geographical factors, right, from the terrain to hilly areas to the transportation. So these are the 3-4 dimensions geography. And the next thing is, see, everything is linked to the government again, the government subsidies, the government initiatives. So see, you are getting 8 to 9 dimensions easily, effortlessly. So when you read through these frameworks and mindsets, right, so it will be easy, everything. So you don't have to remember anything, you have to like go on, analyze your preparation, your writing, everything will be easy. And similarly, see for example, if you take any question in art and culture, see for example, in art and culture every year some broad questions will come. See for example, so the life in Gupta period is such a way, and they'll ask to compare in such a different ways. So how to go about it is, see for example, again art and culture what we'll be having, we'll be having first architecture. We have like caves, temples, and maybe like stupas, pillars. This comes under architecture. So you can generate dimensions like this. And if you go to art, so art and culture, like literature comes. In each empire there will be emphasis on literature. And in art we will be having like dance forms, music forms. And in culture we'll be having how to analyze culture. So culture we can be analyzing on basis of the social life they have, the position of women, the religious life, the religious happenings at the time taken. So when you analyze through these frameworks, right, everything will be the complex thing will be reducing it to the simple nature, and your preparation journey will be very easy. So always find that the base with which the subject forms. So once you thorough with the base, the entire preparation journey will be very helpful. So and you can generate a lot of points and dimensions, and at certain point of time you have to run for what points I have to write, what points are important, because you'll be having so many points to write. So that's how it goes when you start from mains preparation to when you end it. So you'll be now you'll be having with a lot of points, but the challenge becomes is how to reduce the points and how to prioritize the points. That's how it becomes. So that is reading through structures and frameworks. And second thing is organizing the syllabus and syllabus decode is see how I used to do. See for example, by the way, I didn't take any classroom coaching. I prepared everything on my own. So how I used to decode the syllabus organizing thing, and also I'll explain note making also how I used to do. So how I used to do note making. So see, notes are the base for everything for me, and to make notes is like first I'll read a particular topic 1 or 2 times from the first resources I have. I'll read, I'll get the conceptual clarity. I won't be used to note anything in my first or second reading. I used to maybe underline few things to see what is the important thing. If I read a paragraph of this much of information, what is the main idea I'm getting from the paragraph, that's itself. The main idea goes to my notes. It's like taking the main ideas from the resource, because they'll give that same information in a much explained way, and you don't want anything to be in your notes, just you want concise notes. So I'll read a particular book 1 or 2 times to get that concept of clarity. And second thing, sooner it is done, go to the previous year questions. You read particular subject, for example, let's say I'll take an example of federalism. So you read from particular source. Initially I read from Lakshmikant. I felt that it's not enough for mains. Then I read vision value addition material. Let's say federalism topic. So read. I used to read. I used to understand. Then go to the previous year questions. Every year some year 2 questions will come from federalism topic itself in the mains. Read all the questions and assess yourself whether you are able to first understand the question, understand the demand of the question, not question, understand the demand of the question. Whether the topic you read or anything, at least helping you to address and understand the demand of the question, and at least you are able to think few dimensions and few points on the question. So that will streamline your preparation to a large extent, because you know is your preparation going in a streamlined way or not, whether the source you are reading is enough or not, and the way you are reading is able to you are able to meet the demand of the question or not. So this will help you to address those particular points. I used to see just previous year questions and see whether it will be helpful for me or not. Then comes note making. So from the I used to read previous year questions. I used to then again integrated approach. If something like from previous year questions is not suffice in that one, I used to maybe refer to another source or everything. So then I go for note making. How I do for note making? How I do is, for example, let's take a topic of federalism. So in every note I'm making, either in the notes or in some rough paper, what I used to write is what I need to read in a federalism. See, first thing is I used to make a dimensions like this. I used to make a structure like this. So what is the basic definition? What is the concept? Basic concept of federalism is one thing. What is the constitutional basis or position of India in federalism? And here itself, comparison of constitution with other countries are also there. So you have to see federalism in some other countries like UK, US, and everything. So compare with other countries. So this will come effortlessly when you understand the syllabus thoroughly. And one more important thing. So when I started the preparation itself, I took a printout of all the syllabus and pasted in on my wall. And I used to read every day. When I wake up, I used to read I used to see the syllabus. So once you see for like 30-35 days, right? So everything will be internalized. I don't say it's remember, it's like internalized. So constitutional basis like comparison with other countries. Then see, for example, so there are different concepts like competitive federalism, cooperative federalism, so other concepts you read. Then issues also, like what are the issues in federalism, and issues also you break it down. See, for example, fiscal issues, and they're like administrative issues, and go and break down, and like what are the solutions, and in solutions, so some commission solutions, and some way forward, and some any other topics related to federalism, like for example interstate disputes, water disputes, and some commissions like NITI Aayog. Everything comes under the federalism topic. So you decode everything just before reading something. So this helps a lot. This helps in minimizing your time in preparation, and everything goes in a streamlined way. Trust me, because you know what to read, and you look for the things you need. You won't be going on reading something like for a longer duration. That's the only agenda in this thing. Okay. Yes. And note making also I used to do in A4 sheets. So for example, when I take a sheet, so I used to write a topic, then what I want to read from a topic, then maybe micro dimension 1. I used to put a heading and I used to note down the points. like 5 points, like in this way 5 points, and micro dimension to 5 points. So this is my note making area. Why I used to do in A4 sheets is you can always add the information. Because if you do in book, what happens is you'll be constrained with the if you want to write new information, new dimension, you can always add a page in the middle, and so this will go in organized way. If you do in like some book, what happens, it's okay, but the thing is you can't add so many things in the middle, and because when you do for the first time, you will be obviously missing a lot of things in your notebook writing, right? So when you're doing revision second or third time, you can always insert A4 sheets here, and you can always add new information. And in this topic itself, at the end, I used to write value addition. What I can write in these topics, value addition for, like, for example, let's say what it will be. So just like some cases, some judgments, some recommendations, some data points in terms of like fiscal federalism. So there is a data points for like devolution of funds, how much it is there and all. So all this you organize it in your note making. So then all these things will come into your answers effortlessly, because you will be making your own and you will be having everything organized and streamlined at particular place in your own style. So that's why I'm saying essence of note making for me though, like it's the foundation for my entire mains preparation. How much organized, see the difference between first the 2022 and 2023 is I made my notes like more organized, and I wrote all my value addition data examples related to particular syllabus at the particular syllabus topic itself. So when you do like that, so when you revise also, you will be always able to connect certain example with certain topics. So whenever it comes, you will be able to remember it easily. So that is the essence of note making. Okay, and structures and frameworks. Okay. Next thing is answer writing. So next thing is answer writing. Answer writing, I would say it's a skill and it's also a process. So that skill comes with the process you put. So once you master that skill, right? Um, then it will be very easy, and your presentation skills, and even when you master the skill of answer writing, when you go back and you read also, it will become more easy. So it's like cycle. So answer writing is very crucial in the mains. See, answer writing is like how you think. See, what you think comes into answer writing. So it's like you have to develop that mastery of skill of answer writing. It's like developing the mastery of thinking. How you analyze certain topic, certain question they give. So just like it's like thinking and putting it into a paper in a concise way. So first thing I'll tell how I started my answer writing, and the next thing is what are the essence, what makes a answer good answer. I'll tell the broad dimensions of thing. See, how I started my answer writing. I didn't start answer writing from day one. So generally, like many people suggest that, but I didn't start anything from day one. So how I started my answer writing is, I told right my preparation strategy. I read a particular topic. I used to make not notes, but I used to like read and see the previous year question. So when I see the previous year question, I used to take a paper. I used to scribble on it, and how can I write an introduction for this topic? How can I generate dimensions? So I never write a answer in 2 pages for the first instance. It's all about first I did brainstorming effort. Whether I'm able to address the demand of the previous year questions through my thinking, through the information knowledge I have. So for example, let's say I have previous year questions. I read one topic, I take one previous year questions from it. From the previous year question, I used to, first thing is understanding the demand of the question makes the answer good. So first thing is whether the question they gave, I'm able to understand the demand of the question or not. I used to understand the demand of the question. I used to write in a rough paper, I scribble it. Okay, what is the introduction I can write? Okay, what is the major subdimension? So in that, write 1 point, second point, third point. So initially, I'm very short of point, like for the 10-page answer, right? I'm hardly able to write 1 page also. and my answers also should be very longish and everything. So that happens. So this is how I started my answer writing. Read a certain topic, uh, uh, start writing with the previous year questions, not just a random question out of somewhere in some website. Write through previous year questions. And so this, and third thing is, so it's like when you want to develop that skill, right? Always learn from the people who did best already. So for that, read toppers copies. I don't say like read, like it's analyze the topics in and out, analyze the previous year toppers answers in and out, understand what is their thought process, how they are able to, why they are writing something, how they are able to write something, understand the thought process behind their answers, not just the information. See, information is nothing. Just see the thought process of how they are writing, how they are able to generate the dimensions, how they are uh, attaching the examples, how they are attaching the data points, how they are making introductions catchy. Because see, the same information everybody reads, everybody has the same information nowadays. It's just like how you are thinking, how your thought process is, how your analyzing is. So always learn, take a, sometimes what I used to do is take a topper's copy, uh, read the question, what they wrote in some copy. First think yourself that what I am going to write for a particular answer. Note down your points, then compare with their answer. Obviously you will be way off in the initial stages, but when you do this, but like see, you will be way off in the initial stages, but like don't get demotivated in the initial stages, because their answers are after 1 or 2 years of hard work and we are at the starting stage, so will be in the learning phase. So I used to write something on my side and I used to compare with their answers. Obviously you will be learning a lot of new things there, how they are able to write new dimension. Okay, then you will think that okay, I can think in this way also. See, I can present the same information in introduction in a good way also. So all these small things will come uh, over the time when you do this, like for few days or few months. So this how I developed habit of writing, um, uh, habit of like making my answers good. And the thing is, writing 1 or 2 questions at a time versus completing entire questions in 3 hours is a different ball game altogether. So uh, after certain stage, you need to write 3 hours exam, right? So this sometimes for optional I did before my I wrote my 3 hours test paper before prelims itself for optional. I didn't do for GS. So when I did for optional also, initially it took me 4.5 hours to complete the complete paper, which supposed to be completed in 3 hours. Even after prelims 2022, when I write to for main, when I need to write for GS also, it took me 4 hours, 4.5 hours. So everybody, when you're writing for the first time, it will happen that you will be taking more time to do, and you will be in a doubt, a dilemma of whether you are able to complete the paper in 3 hours or not. So these all will questions comes to you, and it will have some stress also on you. Like don't get bored to it. So it's a process, and everything everybody will go through the same process of not able to complete the paper. Everybody will go through the same process of not able to write good answers at the first instance. So all these things will happen, but the only thing is you need to improve on it. So the first thing for me is why am I unable to complete the paper in 4.5 hours is not because I'm unable to write fast. It's because I'm unable to think fast. Okay. So when you write in future, when you write full length paper, so the main reason for not completing in 3 hours is not because of your speed of writing. It will be because of your speed of thinking. So when you think fast, when you think thorough, obviously the speed will increase. So what I used to do for this is, I used to wake up like daily, and I used to brainstorm 3-4 questions daily, fastly, 2 minutes. So like I used to take a rough paper. I used to take a question, and I used to write answer, like what can I write for introduction, what is that I can write. I used to brainstorm. Brainstorming the questions helped me. Okay. So brainstorming the questions helped me to think fast, which obviously ended up helped me in writing fast. So always understand that it's obviously that physical pain of answer writing will be there to sit and write for 3 hours, but it comes to a matter of fact that you have to think fast rather than just it's not writing much, but it's thinking faster and thinking more diverse way. So this is how I looked at answer writing, and this is how I jumped from writing, uh, analyzing previous year questions, writing previous year questions from the time I read to not able to write complete the paper in 3 hours to completing the papers. This means I completed every paper before 4-5 minutes itself, right from GS to optional and everything, even ethics. So this came with a lot of practice of brainstorming. Not able to write, it's not writing fast. So I used to like brainstorm a lot because see, another factor is I don't have time to write many tests also because of the working. So I used to brainstorm everything, and that improved my speed of thinking. That is one tip I can give, that brainstorming the questions is of utmost importance. Because why I am telling this is when you are in a prelims to mains cycle of that maybe 100 days or 3 months, what happens is we'll write one full length test within like 1 week time frame, but in meanwhile, right, we won't be writing anything. So in those, at least that like 1 week gap between full length test, it's better to brainstorm these questions so that you will be in the zone of thinking. Yeah, so that is the one tip I can give. And next thing is, what makes a answer good? How can you get a good marks in mains? Because even when you completely fill the paper also, you will end up with scoring less. Uh, yeah, is it audible? Yeah. Compared to people who leave some questions also, sometimes people end up scoring very less. So it's all about you're making answers very good. In my view, what makes an answer good, I'll tell. Yeah. So what makes a good answer, in my view, is see, first thing is, see, understanding the demand of the question itself is of greater importance, and always your focus should be on the understanding the demand of the question. So it's like demand of the question and contextuality. You should get the context correct. You should understand the tail words given a question and what they are asking, because sometimes the statement will be same, and based on the tail words, entire answer you should give will differ, and many times there will be very subjective questions. Uh, Even like especially in GS also, and sometimes in optional, humanities optional, many times subjects will be questions will be subjective, and the understanding the demand, hitting the core part of the question is of very important, and actually that is the most important thing I would say. And second thing is always the content is the king, and the depth in your content. Uh, so so content comes from like the diversity of your content, whether you are able to analyze the question from as many dimensions as possible or not. It will give, so for example, so generally like you have to address from all the angles possible, so to increase that variety, because it's general studies and you have to be like diverse enough to write many dimensions and many points. So next come after diversity, when you write, so it's diversity is like making an arguments based on particular perspective, and always you will be making your answers more credible when you substantiate it, right? So always when you give an argument, when you make an when you put forth a perspective in front of the examiner, always try to, like, it won't be possible in many cases, but always try to substantiate it with something. examples, some case studies. If it is GS2, judgments, some committee recommendations. So, and many more, some certain things I miss, I guess. But so these substantiation actually gives you that extra edge in GS. So it can push your marks from 100 to 110, 100 to 115. In GS3, of late, many people are scoring less. If you see the trend, one important thing I could see is this. There is a substantiation missing, and also the diversity is missing in the answers. So always substantiate your answers to maximum extent as possible. I know it's not possible in many questions, and even in many points if you write it's not possible, but do to whatever the text extent need. And third thing is showing the conceptual clarity in the answers we have written. So always see, sometimes we'll get to know how much conceptual clarity we have when you read somebody answers. So you should show that depth, you should show that conceptual clarity in your answers. So that comes when you read it very conceptually, from very like foundationally. So conceptual clarity you have to show in answers. How to show is like, see, for example, not just writing a point but analyzing a part. Analyze, like, it's like what I would say is like argumentative writing. It's like called writing with the reasons. So when you make a points, just add a detailed depth of explain it in a one sentence. So that gives a depth, that gives a conceptual clarity when you're writing the answers. So focus on that conceptual clarity. And fourth thing is yes. So fourth thing is like the introduction part and the conclusion part, right? So you should use it to make the broadness. You should increase the broadness of your answers. Should make it catchy to help the examiner that acha like to make them think that we are thinking in a like broader way. And your conclusions should be uh, maybe in a solution oriented, and sometimes where it needs it should be optimistic and connect with a broader picture of what's going and what is important. So I will say like the introductions and conclusions you should be making more broader, more optimistic, more solution oriented. That gives a edge. Even half mark edge in each question is like 10 marks. Intro and conclusions. So you should make it more catchy and more solution oriented. And fifth thing is like addressing all the parts of the question. That's so obvious, comes from the demand of the question itself. Yes. So generally I followed these things to make my answers improve from like from one of 2022 attempt to 2023 attempt. And even when I'm writing, when I'm like improving over the stage, whether you are able to understand that, like able to write, whether you are able to address all the dimensions, improve your content, improve depth of the content. If you don't have data for a particular topic, read the data, note down the data for a particular syllabus topic, and do. So if you do this, I think your main answers will improve a lot, and you're able to like score well when you like tick all the boxes. So this is my analysis of how to write good answers for mains. So this is the broad thing of what need to be done for mains: note making and answer writing, organizing your preparation, and reading through structures and frameworks. So this is the my philosophy of like approach for mains. Now we'll go to some specifics of each GS subject and what I did for that particular subject, and so those things we'll discuss now. I think this is 2022, 2023 marks. So, and what I improved, what worked for me, because I learned the hard way of improving the scores and to improve the scores. So, See, first thing is uh, the most weightage topic in GS1 is geography. I think out of 250, around like 100 marks will come from geography. It will change maybe 1 or 2 questions. Indian society, 75. Art and culture, modern history, 75. These are rough weightage every year we will get. So, so more than focusing on art and culture and modern history, first you need to focus mostly on geography, because it's the most weighted subject, and many questions every year, 1 or 2 tricky questions they will give, but this is where the marks are, because like art and culture, if somebody knows, everybody don't know. That kind of questions will come in maybe art and culture, modern history sometimes. But see, geography is the where you can score, if you want to score good marks in GS1, geography is the area. And even geography out of 100 questions, so physical geography and almost economic and human geography carry the equal weightage of 50-50. And um, writing geography, like you should be very thorough with the physical geography, uh, especially the geomorphology, oceanography and climatology topics. Plus there is a mention of like volcanoes, earthquakes and like some flora and fauna, all those things. So you should be very thorough in these topics, because these are like sometimes direct questions will come, and sometimes very factual questions comes in physical geography, and you should know something about it to write something. So you have to read this physical geography thoroughly. For this geography, I used PMFIS. So this is geography, and human and economic geography is like you can learn a lot through frameworks, and many things you can relate in the happenings, and you can write something out of it. To score good marks in geography, obviously the maps are the fundamental key of everything. And with the maps itself, see, many times geography questions are linked to some economic and human geography, right? So it's better to add that. See, for example, economic and human geography questions. So human geography, economic geography, it's better to add some perspectives from society and art and culture as a last reference also. So that will give you diversity in the answers. That's where that linking syllabus part comes in. When you link the syllabus from one part of syllabus to other syllabus, you will generate more dimensions, and you will bring different perspectives in the answers. And always UPSC rewards different perspectives, because they'll also get bored by same answers, and they have to correct a lot. So when you bring different perspectives, that kind of small wins you get. So that is my approach. So always like include maps as much as possible. Learn right through frameworks, especially for economic and human geography, and not only the maps of world or India. Even see many concepts in physical geography you can explain through small maps. Like small diagrams, I would say, not maps. See how cyclone forms and all those things. So what are diagrams you have to include? Maybe that helps you score good marks. So that is regarding geography part. And society, yes. So for me, my optional is sociology. So society, I didn't invest much to study other than sociology. But writing sociology answers won't give good marks in society. You have to write in a general way only. You don't have to write like if you write sociology perspectives and all. Again, it's like they won't be aware of the concepts and everything. So uh, much of the questions in like Indian society, the trend is changing every year and then and now, and many of the questions comes from day-to-day happenings, and they are asking to analyze in certain way and all. So giving contemporary examples, uh, relating it with the current happenings, gives you that extra edge in society. I used vision value addition material for society. So this is my, even though I have optional sociology, but I read again vision valuation material to see the generic points you have. So society, just like what are the happenings, so that gives extra edge, giving the examples, giving some case studies, and particular things. For example, many times questions come from this family, marriage thing, some caste system, kinship. So you have to write contemporary examples and see the things around you. From that you can learn a lot in terms of Indian society point of view. Yeah, in art and culture and modern history, so people think this is the toughest thing, but if you see the mains questions, I would say prelims are toughest. But if you see the mains questions of modern history and art and culture are more in an analytical way compared to information oriented. So don't get bogged down by too much of content to be consumed and information to be consumed. It's all the analytical part they are asking. So I think last year questions they are asking introduction of railways, how it interacted economic, how it impacted economic and social life, something. So these kind of things you won't read anything anywhere. See, it's just that analytical thing. Okay, what could have happened when introduction of railways? So you have to analyze it in a social dimensions and economic dimensions. So history is such a part that don't focus on so much of information to be read and everything. Focus on the analytical part. How can you write in dimensions? So that that's how I saw history part. I didn't used to memorize a lot, but I used to this analytical part. These are the like strongest areas for me to write answers. That I used to write for art and culture, modern history. See, modern history, I started with spectrum, but I felt really it's boring, and I read the vision value addition material for modern history also. It's good. I found it good, and art and culture. See, art and culture. Actually, used for prelims. I used I think Sunya IAS notes, and same thing I use it again, and also there are quick revision material in Vision website, it will be there. I use that for mains itself, just read something and I used to write. So here, see, previous year questions, analyzing previous year questions, right, in each topic will help you your job more easier to how to answer, how to think analytically. So this kind of information, and see GS2 same again. Maybe 50 here, maybe 75 to 90 here, 110 to 125 here. Half of the paper like will be polity. And see, if you see the trend in GS2, what I observed back 4 5 years back, it used to be heavily current affairs oriented, direct current affairs oriented questions. But if you see now the pattern is changing and they're giving a more conceptual and philosophical, not philosophical, but questions with a lot of static, which requires a lot of conceptual depth, especially in the polity part. So when you're analyzing the trends also, you have to analyze these things and organize your preparation in such a way. So like except international relations, right? So it's all heavily, there will be current affairs reference will be there, but it's becoming heavily static and conceptual oriented, which require a lot of depth. So especially I scored 125 this time. So because like this polity, right, these are like so many questions revolved around a constitutional basis, perspective of constitutional with respect to women, and like there are many questions revolved around constitution. So you have to give and some environment constitution, like the many questions I don't remember, but the thing is in the polity you have to add the depth, add that analytical part in your answer writing, and obviously here the value addition is the judgments, the cases, the data we have, the committee recommendations we have, all those things will give you extra edge in polity. And the social justice is the most obvious thing because one question from education and health, one question from like vulnerable sections. So the syllabus is limited. So you can write a good answers for the questions from social justice and governance. The syllabus is very limited and the questions often get repeated in a different way. So even if you read some content and even if you analyze your previous year questions thoroughly, you will be able to write very good answers for governance and social justice. So this is the thing. And international relations, See, international relations, 4 questions will come, and I think one question will be bouncer every year. So like it's like tough to write, I would say. But again, international relations, sometimes we feel like it's much to study, but always study international relations in terms of frameworks and dimensions. See, for example, if you analyze any interactions between two countries, between different bodies, there's certain framework you can do here also. See, for example, first angle comes is the geostrategic angle, the multilateralism angle, the economic angle, how is the trade and commerce between them, the defense relations between them, the people to people interactions, the strategic things, the interactions in science and technology. So there will be 7 to 8 core dimensions will be there, and you can analyze everything through that frameworks and dimensions, which makes your international relations answers writing it easier, except that 1 or 2 odd questions comes every year, and based on the newspaper reading you get over the 1 year international relations, you can answer that also. That makes your international relations at 50 marks very easier to score. This is easier to score, and this is also easier to score. Polity, you have to write a lot of depth using cases, judgments, different data points. Here, like I felt it more tougher, but this time I prepared a lot of value addition material. That's why the score jumped almost 23 marks. And given the trends, scoring GS2 is possible. Scoring high in GS2 is possible if you put your effort in the right direction and improve your answers. So this gives you edge. Next is GS3. So I think economy 50, agriculture 50, internal security 50 marks around, science and tech, environment and disaster management. So maybe one of the questions here it will change. So generally this is the pattern, this is the weightage they give every year. And see, for me, see, this agriculture and internal security is kind of like more static, more like the questions often repeats every year, and there's a limited syllabus for agriculture and internal security. And this economy, see, like economy is very broad, and sometimes they give questions like information view. Sometimes they will give a more analytical way of questions. So economy is kind of tough for me. See, science and tech though, like nobody expects what kind of questions they give, and they have to balance people from all the streams to make it level playing field. So sometimes there will be bounces in science and technology questions. And environment DM, I think last year they increased the weightage of environment and disaster. Yes. So one more important thing is in GS3, right? There are like often people scored above 100 in other GS subjects. When come to GS3, right? It stopped many people from last 2 years to get a good rank. People score 60, 65, like even sometimes 70. So actually still I don't know like actually what is the major reason behind that much extreme of the marks. But see, one thing is, one thing what I did to get, I don't say these are exceptional scores, but obviously these are the above average scores in GS3 in the last 2 years I got. So, see, one thing is, my GS3 is data heavy answers. So I used to see there's a scope of writing data in economy, agriculture, even internal security also you can write some data. Science and tech maybe not, you might be not doing questions also. Even environment disaster management also, right? Whatever the disaster you take, you can write something some data related to that disaster. Like let's say what is the vulnerability analysis, how much of area is affected by floods every year, what is the frequency of droughts happening. So this kind of data you have to write in your GS3 to make it more scoring. So GS3 should be data heavy. It's an economy paper, and it should be very data heavy. So that's the first thing. And second thing is, see, this economy also should be very analytical. that 4 questions we get economy, it should be very analytical, not just we have to write the points and end it. We have to give the reasons, you have to like discuss in broad dimensions. And again, like it's examples and government schemes you can write. So you have to, so much of factual information you have to put in GS3 to get a good marks, especially in economy and agriculture and internal security, where it is heavily impacted by government schemes, initiatives, everything here. So you have to bring all those perspectives when you're writing answer. Internal security, obviously there are many government initiatives, government gives committee recommendations and everything. So you have to include that part, that example, that references heavily to that what I did, maybe it helped me score good marks. Should be heavily enriched with all those things, especially these 3 parts where the scope of like scoring good. Even this environment, right? Obviously, yes. NDMA guidelines, giving references, giving examples. Examples is the key in environment disaster management also. And one more thing, when we say GS3, people always jump on reading economy, economy, economy. But see, if you see generally, core economy is only 50 marks. Others is 200 marks. And agriculture, internal security, the syllabus is limited. And you can score good marks. So maintaining that balance is also very important GS3. Because the most diverse GS paper, because it involves 5 different subjects. And sometimes you will be like, our mind is not tuned to think what is needed for all the papers also. So that's why you have to focus equally and heavy on all the subjects. And wherever needed, you can internal security, you can draw the maps to show like from where the threats are coming. Even in disaster management, can be map. There should be maps in disaster management. So yeah, these things for the GS3. Yes. So compared to 3 GS papers, ethics is kind of different. Ethics and essay. See, it need not be. It's not the width of the answers per se. So, for example, when we think of other GS, we have to write more dimensions. We have to write more perspectives. But what I observed in ethics, right? It's all. Even if you write few points, even if you write paragraphs, you can get good marks. It's all about showing your thinking, even when you're limited points, limited, even if you write few points also, but if you're able to convince the examiner that you're thinking in a certain manner, right, it will give a lot of addition in the ethics. So for ethics, what I did is, so for ethics, I read vision validation. So these 2 things I read, and so this case studies part also I did somewhere. The most important thing helped me is when I took coaching tests, like when I took this test series, right, coaching institute test series, the discussions they give, I attended for only for this ethics paper. Remaining I didn't attend, but from their discussions, I learned a lot how to solve case studies and how to write good ethics answers. So this is I did ethics and essay, and in ethics and essay the value addition is very important because ethics without essay, ethics without examples is not fetching any good marks. So we have to write a lot of examples of real life examples, examples of administrators, examples of famous people, examples of different references of different incidents happening in the society which are related to that ethical question in the paper. So because that gives you the practicality, because ethics is always about the practical implementation, right? So ethics without practicality is nothing. So you should give the examples, otherwise your argument won't hold good there. So that's why if you see, so I scored, I don't know. 108 to 122. So actually in 2022, I was not able to complete the paper. Maybe 1.5 question I left. So this year I attempted everything, and I wrote with examples and differences of different things, writing quotes, quotations in the introduction and conclusions. So these are kind of helped me. And one important thing is in my Telegram channel, I kept my value addition material for ethics. So it's a like very long document, and I did with lot of hard work. Maybe it will be helpful for you people. You can refer to that because lot of effort involved in making the document. So maybe it can help. So this, and second thing is see case studies. Case studies are important, but what I observed is so ethics part 1 is 130 marks, case studies 120 marks. What I observed is so many people give lot of time for case studies itself. Like, see, it deserves 95 minutes, half of the time, maybe a bit extra time because it will be lengthy. See, some people giving 105, 110, sometimes even 2 hours also. If you do that, so we'll be compromising on the ethics theory part answers. There's also very good scoring. Like, it's not like you can score only good marks from the case studies. So you have to focus equally on ethics theory and also ethics case studies to score very good marks. And time management is very important in ethics part. And trust me, after writing essay GS1, GS2, GS3, right? When you come to ethics on the Sunday evening, so it will be very tougher physically and for mentally also think, because you will be like heavily drained from all this examination process. So sometimes what happens is even people scoring very good marks in mock test, that won't convert in the real examination, because here we write in isolation, so our mind can think good quickly. But in the actual examination, we are writing after 4 back-to-back exams on the last day. So always when you write, do the simulation, that do these examinations to test yourself how to thinking. Always write ethics in your stress mode only, because at that on that day, right, on that final day, right, it is going to be very hectic, drained, physically, everything, like. So always, so this thing I found out, people scoring good in marks sometimes won't end up scoring good in final examination. Maybe this is one of the reason. So this is people we have to take care. We have to simulate ourselves to think in that particular stressful situations to score a good marks. So that is one thing related to ethics. And the essay part. So I think essay is becoming very different from year to year, and the scores are also being cut down like nothing. Previously 130 is 120, 130 is like many people used to get, but this time like they're becoming like 80, 90, 100, and so I would say essay is becoming difficult and different day by day. And see, for me, essay is not the strongest part for me. So essay is always my weakest thing in entire the 7 scoring papers. I used to get like I used to get fear by this essay paper, because I don't know like what to write and whether I never wrote essay in my life before this UPSC. So I don't know like how to write essays and all those things, but UPSC essays are different, and you don't have to write that flair of essay writing also to get good marks, because I don't have that much of creativity, that flairness in my writing and all. But my essays used to be heavily ideas oriented, heavy with ideas, heavy with perspectives. That I ensured at least even this during this uh, last 2 3 years also, where scores are very less, I'm able to score at least maybe average or above average marks in essay. I would say these are like satisfactory for me, for my skill in essay and for my marks. So my approach to the essay is like so once you see the how to brainstorm the essay is where your writing will be dependent on. So in the examination hall also, 1.5 hour for each essay. So that 15, 20, 25 minutes where you invest in brainstorming part is of very crucial thing. Okay, so what they say in essay, right? So if you see syllabus also, it's like 4 points, 4 checkpoints. Keep closer to the subject. arrange ideas in orderly fashion, and they write concise writing, effective and exact expression something. So this is how UPSC expects us to write an essays, right? See, keep closer to the subject is like decoding the essay. See, when you see the statement, right? So now these are like very subjective statements from last 2-3 years, like they say like philosophical topics kind of thing. So decoding the syllabus, decoding the essay topic itself is a very big job, because the reason for scoring 70, 80s, 85s in essay, because maybe they're getting the interpretation wrong. So interpreting the essay in a correct manner is a very important, and you should take a lot of time in interpreting the essay correctly. After 4 topics you read, so which topic you can interpret correctly, and which topic you have ideas. See, ideas is like the dimensions you are writing in an essay, the ideas you are putting in an essay, the body part. So the interpretation part will take care of your introduction. How can you write introduction? This arranging ideas will be taken in this body part, and you should see. Mine is like I'm able to interpret correctly. I'm able to generate ideas also based on the information of all my general studies and other knowledge. This effective and exact improvisation, I don't used to have that flair in writing. So this was compromised. Maybe that's why the scores are not that heavy. So this I took care. So always you should balance these 3 things: interpreting, generating ideas, and writing it like beautifully with that flair in writing. That you need to take care. So this is part I missed, but like you should if you take care of these 3 things when you're writing an essay, that will make your essay like very rewarding. And I used to follow definite structure for essay also. So I think everybody knows that. I'll quickly iterate in 2-3 minutes. See, first thing is introduction part. Maybe 1.5 page after 12 pages. So 1 to 1.5 page I would say. So introduction, maybe you can write with anything, anecdote to quote, data, example, reference, anything. So anecdote, data, maybe examples, some event, real life event, some references, some dimension also, some historical happenings and all. See, writing a good introduction, so you should tell the examiner that you interpreted the topic correctly in the introduction itself. When they read your introduction, they should think that acha, like this person interpreted correctly. So that is the essence of writing introduction, that you are building that same page, because essay is subjective, right? So you should build that platform to bring your examiner on what you are going to write in the next thing. So the interpretation should tell in the introduction itself, and you should have this connecting statement. It's like where you can tell the scope of what is coming, what to write, and all those things. And next comes body. I used to write in these things. See, essay is like they'll give you a statement, so you write thesis for that statement. Okay, so you write thesis by raising different questions, like see, based on these 3 questions, what? See, what question makes it narrative? This makes our essay argumentative and analytical. So you have a statement and you have to write a thesis for it. So you write a thesis by brainstorming on these 3 questions: what, why, and how part. You have to brainstorm. So when you do this, right, you will get many macro dimensions. Maybe you have to include maybe 8 to 10 macro dimensions in thesis part. Next comes sometimes like antithesis, like maybe you don't have to agree with the statement always. So you can take a antithesis part. Sometimes you can take critical approach. Okay, what if not? Why not? And how it can be more. So these things if you include, right, your like body like it be maybe 10 to 12 paragraphs here, maybe 7 to 8 paragraphs here, it will fill next 7 to 8 pages, and you will be building a good essay based on this pattern of thinking. So these all things you have to brainstorm a lot based on these dimensions. So you take a thesis statement, you question yourself on this, and you write antithesis statement, and the conclusion part is like synthesis of those things. So thesis, and you add antithesis, and what is the conclusion you are getting, like you are synthesizing everything and giving some maybe solutions oriented if it is a that kind of essay and all those things. So this is the approach I followed, and I used to brainstorm a lot based on these things, so such that I was able to give and one more thing. So this is the thing, right? And next thing, it's called I read somewhere it's called like meal approach. So when you're making an argument in thesis, when you're making a macro dimension, one macro dimension, so this approach, sorry. So when you're writing one paragraph of main dimension, main idea, and give an idea, give an example for it. So this makes your macro dimension more catchier. You give an idea, you give an example to it. So it's like A means like you can analyze it more if you want. And L is like lead to the next argument. So I would say these two must be there. In thesis you will be having some 10 macro dimension if you have. In each dimension you should have this idea, you should give an example to it. This makes it more beautiful. Sometimes if you analyze it and if you give a lead to the next argument, right, it will make it more good. But sometimes you would be having space and sometimes you won't be having all those things. So this approach I used to follow when in this also. So this is a large breakup. In each dimension, this is the, in paragraph, this is the thing I used to write. So this is the thing, these are the things I followed on how to write an essay, and yeah, these things. Yes. Next is optional. So how many sociology people are there here? Oh, quite heavy. Yeah. So mine is sociology, and the first thing is question to many people is how to choose an optional, on what basis we choose. I'll say my thought process on choosing an optional. See, first thing is whether my graduation subject is there or not. I did electronics and communication, but there is electrical thing. So it was cut off. I didn't want to do the again technical also, to read technical thing again. And second thing is the resource availability, for which options the resources are more available, and you have to like pick those because you shouldn't be running after the content if you don't have. So third thing is the trend in the marks in the last few years, that you need to see whether which options are scoring good, because see, at the end of the day you have to get good marks. It's not like you read something which interests you also, right? And fourth thing comes your interest and overlap with the GS subjects. See, some optionals, right? So for example PSIR, it's like overlap with GS2, and so geography GS1 100 marks overlap, sociology also society overlap, and sometimes you can use that ideas in essay and ethics also. So based on these things I took sociology, and I would say sociology, I'll make it brief. I wrote a detailed thing of sociology in my Telegram channel. So first, sometimes these inputs can help in other humanities also. So paper 1 121, 119, 143. So scoring good in optional is must to get a good rank. So I found like an issue with sociology is sometimes like we struck like for many attempts in the 230 to 250 band. So I got 240 in 2022 attempt. So people get stuck there and 240. And you have to improve the scores to 270 plus, 275, 280 plus to get a good rank. So this is the thing I found in sociology, and for many, sometimes maybe luck, sometimes I don't know, but these things will end up there. So my approach for sociology is, I think, Essential Sociology of Nitin Sangwan, and I used Topper's notes heavily for sociology. Dati Reddy ma'am notes, Tusharanshu sir, and last year toppers. I used their notes heavily for sociology. That kind of helped me to do, because sociology anyway vast subject again. So you have to see what other toppers did to read, to know what to read and all, because it's trickier, not same as GS. So my approach is in that way. So for when I gave 2022 attempt, I felt that I did whatever I could do, and I thought I'll get good marks. But results showed otherwise. I got 240 only. So it was shocking for me for sociology and all. So the things I missed in these two attempts and what I did in this year is, see, I'll tell few broad things for sociology what I did. See, first thing is, there are many, especially in paper 2, what happens is questions are very generic and our answers will become more generic in a GS oriented way. Until and unless you bring lot of sociological perspectives, you won't be able to score good marks in sociology. So you have to make sure that you will bring sociological dimensions in your answers, perspectives. So I would rate perspectives and dimensions more than thinkers. Obviously, you should include thinker references, but it's not just writing thinker's name. You should include that sociological perspective, the thinker perspective in your answer. That makes your answers more sociological. And second thing is having introductions, conclusions ready made. In like first 2022, so this is the like hard work, this is that boring work you have to do sometimes in this UPSC, that remembering things a lot. So in 2022, like I know that definition, I thought like I'll write in some my own words and all those things. That kind of penalized me. So you have to, where there is it's a discipline, it's a subject of its own. So you should write standard definitions. You should write standard definition maybe from the thinker's perspective. So all those things. So that gives a edge in sociology. So again, like another thing is that context and demand of the question, understanding demand of the question is very crucial in sociology, especially in paper 2 and even paper 1, like very subjective questions, very analytical questions. So if you get the demand wrong, your answer will be wrong. If you get two 20 markers demand wrong, that will be, you will get -10, -12 marks less. So maybe sometimes, maybe in the previous attempt I got the demand of the question also wrong. And analyzing previous year questions is must in sociology, because questions get repeated. Even questions repeated in different way, with the analyzing and with the depth of information. I think it is same in another humanities option also. I did for this 2023 attempt for 2015-16 to 2022, I did all the previous year questions. I did in the sense I brainstormed all the previous year questions. So that brainstorming of the previous year questions helped me a lot in understanding the demand of the question first, because when you analyze previous year questions, first thing you'll get is to understand the demand of the question. So that you have to do, and choosing correct questions also important, because options are the only areas where they give us freedom to choose something. So you have to like see, sometimes what happens is 20 10 marker, like we know certain questions for sure, certain questions for not for sure. So you have to choose it wisely, where you will get more rewarded. So all those things you have to tick those boxes to score good in sociology. Yeah, so this is related to sociology. Yes. And so one more thing is reading current affairs. How to read current affairs, and how I read current affairs. I'll explain detail, and I think this is the most crucial part. Reading current affairs is also a very important thing. See, I started with newspaper reading back when I started UPSC preparation. It is overwhelming, obviously, because there are many new things which we won't come across, and it is takes time also. So what I did is I used, I think then Byju's Hindu newspaper analysis. I used to watch their videos. I used to read newspapers both in time, like I used to read and I used to watch their analysis also, which makes which gives me more clarity in such a way. So I followed this for 2 3 months, maybe more than 3 months. So after that I stopped gradually and I used to read it more on my own. So newspaper reading is must for current affairs. No monthly magazine, no daily newspaper analysis of anything will suffice. You have to read on your own to build that foundation. Newspaper. That see my reason for jump in prelims, I'll give credit to newspapers only in 2023. Your newspaper reading will give you that extra dimensions in essay. So you will able to add examples in essay, and even for interview though, like it's the major base. So newspaper you have to do thoroughly, and so how I used to do is so most of the new times I used to read e-paper only for newspaper. I didn't used to make any notes from the newspaper. I used to read, but what I used to do is I created one page in my Evernote. uh, I named it as like eye opener. So whenever I read a new dimension, new perspective newspaper, I used to write it there. See, the essence of newspaper is like to broaden your outlook majorly. So I didn't make another notes again because I'm referring for mains 365 also. So that is my kind of notes for revision. But these one-liners, this new perspectives I'm getting, new data points I'm getting, new examples I'm getting. I used to write in like Evernote. By the time I completed, like I got like 400 to 500 points like that. Each day one or two new parts, new like way of thinking. So that's how I used to use newspaper. It's majorly to broaden your outlook, to change your thinking, to build that what I could say that bird eye view, eagle's view. So the newspaper gives you that. So it kind of give you edge in every stage of the examination. So I used to do that, and I used to supplement. Sometimes I used to read this daily current affairs. Daily current affairs will get posted by some institutes, right? I think Vision also that gives a 2 or 3 pages thing. So I used to follow them also. For 2 3 months, I used to follow one institute. I used to experiment with everybody, everything. So I didn't follow any definite one, but some different things I used to follow. And so mains 365 is again base. Even when current of like during prelims also, like it's PT 365 is my base and mains 365. Sometimes I used to follow the SUNY IAS current affairs also. For the 2023 prelims, like for some topics, I followed the SUNY IAS topics also. So this is my thought process behind newspaper reading and what is the essence of newspaper. Okay. And another important thing is previous year questions analysis. So at each stage of the examination, from prelims to mains, that previous year question are very important, and you have to analyze. It's just not seeing the question paper and reading somewhere else. You have to analyze and brainstorm it a lot. Okay. So this is related to the stuff related to the examination. All I'll tell one competency theory. So it is the theory is like whenever you learn a new skill, whenever you want to master a new thing, the thought process behind it. Because see, UPSC journey is almost like a developing certain skills in your way, mastering that answer writing, mastering that reading newspapers. Okay, so many might know already, but I think this concept helps us whenever we're learning a new skill, to see where we stand and what we need to improve. So this is called like competency theory. So whenever we are learning a new skill or new competency, so these are the 4 stages everybody will get through. So it's like whenever we are learning something new, whenever we are into some game, whenever we are want to like improve on some skill, so everybody starts at unconscious incompetence. See, whenever like I started for UPSC, right? See, I was not competent enough to learn something because I don't know, and I will be unconscious also because I don't know what to do. See, for example, I don't know what to do to clear this exam. I don't know how to read current affairs. I don't know how to master the skill of answer writing. So we'll be in the, everybody is like newbie. It's like we are very new to the game. So we are incompetent in one skill and we are not conscious ever. So it's like we'll say that ignorance stage of we don't know much of anything. So then slowly into the journey after 1 2 months, 2 3 months, we'll get to a stage that we are conscious about our incompetences. That acha like I'm not good at like reading newspaper. I was conscious about this. I'm not good at writing answer writing. And this comes at later stages also. When you give sometimes one attempt also, maybe I'm not good at writing good answers in GS3. So this like you should be conscious about your incompetencies, where you are lacking and what to improve. So this is like awareness stage. So this conscious competence is like a learning stage because now you know you become conscious enough on what to do and you are putting it in the practice to improve your incompetence to competency of answer writing skills, maybe after like how to read current affairs, how to read certain subject, maybe geography, everything. So we'll be conscious about this competence. So it's like learning. You are in a learning stage. So the final thing is like unconscious competence. So how I would explain it is, see, for example, so this is a skill thing. For example, for a batsman, so whenever like the 150-kilometer ball comes, so this unconscious competence tells them whether to like drive the ball, what shot to play, and this unconscious thing is called like muscle memory. So it's like in your inherited thing that you this skill, this everything become part of you. How I can consider this is like mastery. You're mastering something. So always see in your UPSC journey, you have to move from this stage to this. See, it's not about the results. It's not about the rank which you are getting. If you just improve from this stage to this stage, I think this getting good rank in UPSC is inevitable. Nothing can stop. Even like some bad luck here and there, you'll be getting through. So if you have to follow in between here and here, you should have some unconscious competence and you should have full conscious competence to get a good rank. How it changes? See, for example, I'll tell some examples from my side. See, when I started, I don't know how to read a newspaper. Okay, because it's very like big thing for me. Then slowly started reading. I learned ways to read newspaper, and it will go to okay newspaper. Then you can analyze. Unconscious competence goes to a certain way. That's, for example, when you see a certain article from certain editorial, you will start to think that what they might have written. You will, and most of the times your thoughts and data match. Sometimes differs. Sometimes you will be having better dimensions for it also. So you have to evolve into a certain stage that you have to master the skill of that newspaper. Sometimes newspaper, whenever you see the newspaper, right, it comes to a stage that what is important, what is not important, and even in a given newspaper article, you will understand what they are going to write. So all those things, that's how you evolve. If I relate it to answer writing, again, when you're writing and here like sometimes we won't be able to write one page answer for 3 page question, 15 marker. And sometimes like we write broad things, like sometimes we miss introductions, sometimes we miss in conclusions. So slowly it involves to unconscious competence is such a way that there's nothing like a question you don't know in mains. So you're able to because in examination all you don't have much time to think. Sometimes I see this muscle memory and this your competence you develop to think in such a way, to think in such dimension. It will help you to write that better answers in mains. You will be able to write complete the paper. So any question which you haven't heard sometime, you will always connect it to a particular syllabus topic, and you're able to write a good beautiful answer for it. So that's what your unconscious competence will give you, that muscle memory, the knack of getting things. So this is how how I see UPSC is like UPSC's journey is a process, and where you have to go from here to here. And many, see for example, from 2022 to 23, here maybe in few things I was unconscious. Even after giving 2022, I might be unconsciously incompetent about certain few things. So that's why I was unable to score good marks in particular GS subject or anything. So always you have to assess. So maybe it's a journey of 1-2 years in each subject, in each skill of maybe in each subject knowledge also, each subject skill. Always assess yourself where you stand. Whether are you getting good at it? Whether you are not aware. So sometimes we won't be aware that we are not good at it, and we won't be working on it. So we'll be staying in this stage only. So always self-assessment and the day-to-day progress. So this is the progress which I did for like 3 years. Even still, maybe I will be not competent enough also, incompetent also. But as a whole, I reached till this stage. So always see this UPSC journey not in terms of results or anything, but always see it is a process to develop certain kind of thinking, certain kind of your broader outlook, which elevates you from this to this. So UPSC exam needs certain aptitude and attitude from us. So we have to develop this aptitude and attitude till here. So if you do that, I don't think anything will stop. So it's not just luck, it's not that anything. Everything like it's inevitable, I would say, more or less. But do that correctly, do that self-assessment correctly. See, aptitude in the sense I would say, see for example, what aptitude we need for this thing. See, very analytical depth we need. Okay, aptitude for UPSC, very analytical depth, the broad thinking, okay, very broad thinking, and always the practicality we need, the optimism we need, the solution orientedness we need, okay, able to comprehend lot of information and put that effectively in a certain way. See, that's what answer writing, that's what means. You have lot of knowledge, and you have to take a decision based on the knowledge by writing something. So that is the aptitude we need. So you have to master that skill of aptitude, and even that attitude. See, attitude of like, see for example, there's a lot of hurdles in the journey. That mental stress will be there. Like this, these are the, you have to develop an attitude, a way that you should be taking things in a very positive oriented way. So this is the mastery of skill. Like somebody long back told me, I think this helped me to assess myself, and especially to score, to improve my mains marks from 2022 to 23. So I used to always assess myself in each subject, in each domain where I'm lacking. So I used to assess myself so as to get that mastery. So once you do that, see for example for 2023 mains, so for 2020, I said I was working, right? So for 2022 mains, I took 6 weeks of leave before mains. So like 2 weeks exam cycle, 4 weeks before mains I took. For 2023 mains, I didn't take any leaves. So it's just like the 2 weeks cycle of mains, I took leaves, the 2 weeks only. So because I did lot of hard work, I did lot of brainstorming, I did lot of like, I made my own notes. So everything, information, I read in structures and framework. So that helped me pull even within little time. So if you develop that mastery of skill, and if you get that to a stage, I think nothing can stop anybody, and nothing can stop anything. So this is a small thing I wanted to tell and discuss. I think it will help people. So this thing and few other things. Yes. Yeah. And like if I look back 2.5 to 3 years, if I I have to say few specific things which helped me in this UPSC journey. I'll tell that maybe it may help you people also or may not. Maybe just listen, and if it suits you, you can take and you can follow this. See, first thing is always think in a broader framework. Connect the syllabus from one syllabus point to another syllabus. Read between the lines, I would say. So it's like getting a bigger picture. So my mindset is always like that. Whenever I read information, I used to read in this way. And second thing, UPSC journey, like, it's a process, right? So it's a marathon. Not you read for one, like, 30 days and it will be done. So it will be years on the journey. So always have very long term plan of exam cycle, 2 years, what you're going to do, and bring it down into medium term plans. So for example, what I need to do before prelims and what I need to do in these 3 months. So this level of planning is very, very important to make yourself accountable. You should be accountable to yourself. So these things you need to follow, so such that everything will go within a flow. And third thing is this. I did this prelims 5 questions every day for a year, right? Actually, that helped me a lot. So this is like a year-long process. And if by looking back, I think somehow solving 5 questions every day, right? It helped me a lot. So that thing. And fourth thing is, see, sometimes unfortunately we have to give multiple attempts, multiple mains. Assessing yourself is very important. So I gave 2022 mains. So after writing mains itself, I was very sure that maybe I'll be clearing the cutoff or not, just like it will be maybe plus or minus 20, 30 marks will be there. I got assessment of myself that a lot can be done, but I didn't do enough in 2022 attempt. So what I did is, I think mistakes is, say for example, I just took 10 days break. I went home, I came back, and before even the interview results could come, there will be solid October, November, December, mid it will come most probably. Solid 2.5 months is there. In that 2.5 months, I improved. I read GS 1, 2, 3, 4. I improved. I analyzed where I'm going wrong and I improved on it. So that 2.5 months of hard work after 2022 mains, I cleared that mains again narrowly only. So my prediction came true. So that kind of helped me in this 2023 attempt. That hard work I put irrespective of whatever the result may be, because I was very sure that even if I clear mains this time, even if I go for interview, maybe is good, I'll get some service, but I won't get the service I desire. So I have to write it anyway again. If I have to write, I have to improve on this 2020 attempt. So always that self-assessment, and irrespective of the results, assess yourself and improve on those things. So that 2.5 months of hard work helped in this 2023 attempt. I improved my GS marks by 48. I improved my sociology marks by 43. So I scored almost 440 around GS. I think scoring 440 in GS is a very good thing. It will give you a very good rank. Last time I scored 390. So again, one more important thing is there will be a narrative that you have to score exceptionally in your optional only, 280 plus. The GS 400 in GS is good enough. Like there's sometimes narrative I hear, but there's a good scope of scoring very good marks in GS. 430, 440, 450 is also doable, but 430 though can be doable. So don't have that, like sometimes many people I interacted with, sometimes have this mindset of we can't do much in GS, we can see this in optional essay and all those things. So but GS also have the higher targets, you can chase them. Don't settle anything less, don't compromise on the targets. See every year, so when you're giving next attempt, right, 2024 mains, see the 2023 marks trends. How many people, what is the above average scores are getting, and you should aim for that. So you should make a target for that. So for example, some people, in ethics I got 122, 125, 130 is also people got a lot. So you should fix the target for yourself. And say for example, GS 120, 125, GS2, 125 is a good score, people are getting. So you always think that what can be done to get that good score in GS2. So if you set the targets high, you will work towards reaching that. So that is the thing. And other thing is this active revision thing which I told for doing prelims help, and this incremental learning thing. So learning is like, for example, see, the notes I made is not done in a single sitting. So it was like whenever I revise something or read something, I used to add something there. When I get a new dimension, new perspective, I used to something there. It's like incremental learning. Incrementally, you're learning new. So these are the things help me to get good rank this time. So yeah, this is the thing. And so one more other important thing is I think yeah, first thing is I and to discuss so many people are asking me that how I manage my time while working and all. So few things is the first example is the first thing is so there is a Parkinson's law. It's like what it says is work expands the time you have. So if you have like 24 hours time, you will be doing even the small like to take a lot of time. If you have less time, you will be doing you will find a ways to do it in a less time. So that was the first thing. So I never thought that time. See, the reason I'm unable to score good marks in 2022 because there's a time crunch was there. But when you go for a second attempt, right, that time is not a factor because it's the same thing you read, and it's the same thing you read, and it's just like even within limited time, if you learn on your mistakes and you have to focus where you have to focus, that will normalize over the attempts. Maybe first attempt it will be difficult, but it will be normalized. And second thing is you have to optimize your time a lot. What I used to do is I used to read newspapers while I was in office, in the breaks, in the tea breaks, maybe while doing breakfast. I used to do in e-paper only. And third thing is my preparation is such in a way that I didn't go after running after resources. I organized my preparation according to syllabus and I read what need to be read. Like sometimes you will read more also, but you have to restrict yourself. You have to understand the demand of the syllabus. You have to decode the syllabus, and if you stick to the syllabus, I think that will be a great start. And yeah, these are the few things regarding time management. And yeah, one more important thing is I faced many people face is this uncertainty thing in UPSC. See, for example, see, however hard work we keep, however talent we have, I don't see measure this examination in the talent way because everybody has the potential. So it's just that putting efforts in the right direction, and even if you put efforts in the right direction, after years of hard work, sometimes results won't go as we desire. If you see, the like, success rate is like less than 1% in this examination, 0.5%. And in this journey, there are a lot of stress comes. Sometimes like mental health also gets disturbed. Um, there are things we can't speak to other people. We can't share with our parents. Also, there will be a huge pressure from parents, relatives, and even friend circle. Also, there will be like peer pressure will also be there because many of friends sometimes they do good in some other area and will be stuck in this UPSC preparation journey. So one thing from my side is, if, for example, don't take especially this UPSC exam, right? So see it in a more like a objective way as much as possible. Don't make it like larger than life picture and stress yourself. Many people, it's life defining thing. It's the like career we want to pursue. It's the dream only of us, for many people. But don't make it a huge thing. And how much simple you keep, that much objective and scientific you will be in this calmness that gives you composure, that gives you finding a ways to do anything. If you overburden yourself with making it a bigger thing and all those things, right? So it's like what I would say, like do with your utmost commitment, utmost giving your heart and soul for, and whenever you do it heartfully, and maybe like if not done, come out of it and we can do other better things in life. And anyway, like just not this UPSC and not civil services, right? We can do any good things in any other fields also. So don't make it a bigger thing. and don't carry the burden of many other people on us. So how much objective and scientific you will be there for this exam, that much easier the process will be. So it will help in making complex process easier, simple. So that is the thing I wanted to tell. Yeah, I'll see if I missed anything. I noted down so that I shouldn't miss anything. Yes, I didn't miss anything. I think it's pretty long session, I guess. How much 2.5 hours it took, guys? Right? Yeah. So I think I'll be happy if we, any questions, any doubts, you can ask them, and I'll be answering all of them.
So my questions are two, one pertaining to sociology and another to interview. So for sociology, what was your approach towards answer writing and making notes? And for interview, they ask a lot about home state. So how to go about that? Like while we read newspapers, should we also cover the state news? So that.
So, sociology, see, note making, it's the same thing I told for GS. It's the same, the brainstorming thing, but sometimes option is different. So, my basic source is this Essential Sociology by Nitin Sangwan. Plus, I use Dati Reddy ma'am notes, Tushar Anshu sir notes. So that gives me. So I used to read two of them and used to make my own notes. So because so like Dati Reddy ma'am notes are very like very good, I would say. So I found I read them. I again read previous year questions. So what are the main subdimensions I have to cover in each chapter, and I made my own notes in my own words. I could have used Dati Reddy ma'am notes, but I was more comfortable with revising and uh, applying my own inference in each subject. So that's how I went. Answer writing, yes. See, answer writing thing again, this previous year questions thing. So like many toppers, they kept their previous year questions. I used to attend the same free YouTube session videos. I think Smiti Shah ma'am in YouTube, like I think Vision IAS only. She has how to write sociological answers, YouTube sessions. Not only from Vision IAS, some other institutes were also there. I used to watch them, and I used to write previous year questions. One thing helped me is in this entire journey is uh, there used to be a friend of me. So we used to write daily two sociological answers. She used to review mine, I used to review her. That's how a lot of learning happened. Because for the same questions, I'm reading her. So when I'm reading her, I used to think that acha, like she did a very good point here. She added a new dimension here. She presented correctly like that. So this learning, peer-to-peer learning of writing daily two questions of I did this for sociology. So we did 2022 mains in that 3 months time. I think we did for 2 months almost to writing daily two answers. So this is related to sociology. And second thing, interview. Actually, I didn't speak about interview because once you write mains and you get to the process, right, that interview will be very easy. But still, the thing is, see, yes, home state carries a lot of weightage. Any question you should can come up, and you should be ready to answer those. So how it comes is, see, not just current happenings in the home state. You should go a bit in the historical stage also, and you should do some research. See, for example, previously Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, if I take an example, Naxalism used to be there a lot. It started in 1980s with the leadership, like that main ideological leadership came from Telangana. Students, Telangana and Andhra Pradesh students. So you have to learn how after these 20-30 years, how we are able to nullify the Naxalism in Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. So these topics related to your Telangana, you have to do. So one thing is there are like a lot of transcripts will be there when you go to the interview stage. So transcripts from last 2-3 years. So you can see the questions and you'll get an idea of. So again, same thing, previous year questions into transcripts. So it helps a lot actually. Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Hello, sir. So my question is like in 2022 you gave your pre-exam and I think you scored around 85, 86. This year when you attempted and you had just 3 week in last like for pre, and also the paper was also changed, like whole pattern was changed, and the cutoff is around 75. So how you managed to get 98 marks? Because you said like your current affairs was good, but like other than all this, what was your approach this year? 2023, I will say.
Yeah. So honestly speaking, for 2023, like I didn't have a different approach because I don't have time. I was like very like tired of this UPSC interview and all. See, one thing is it's not the thing I followed in 1 month. What I said, right, that 1 year of newspaper reading, that getting the broadness. Last year I got almost all the international relations questions wrong in 2022. This time I was able to do all of them, like most of them, not all of them, but like most of them. So similarly, like the risk taking, that what we call that intuition, right? So that conviction in my approach increased. So the knowledge base is almost same between 2022 to 2023. The calculated risk taking, that intuition of me, that conviction in solving the answers, I was very comfortable this time. 2022, I was scared in the middle of the examination 2022. After 1 year of writing, I thought that this is not going to happen that year. So I got like very stressed in the examination hall itself. That costed me few questions. So this year I didn't have that stress. I have that conviction and confidence on me. And third thing is that whatever the static subjects, right, I revised it thoroughly. That polity, economy part, and everything. So yeah, it's hard to point out specific thing, but it's just that mindset that got maybe the confidence that I went to interview stage, that confidence that I can do this. So all these things add up and help me to do good. Yes. Yeah, I'm able to hear.
Sir, in GS1 last year we had a question related to what is FAODS, and also in previous year questions in science and technology we had a question related to blue LEDs. In those type of questions we don't have any specific framework how to tackle these bouncer kind of questions.
Yeah. So yes, so it's like it's very tougher that question in GS1 geography, but somehow I know that thing. I know that particular thing. I didn't know completely. I know that where they are located because it's a beautiful scenic thing. I follow these beautiful destinations to travel. So when I researched, I got to know it. That's how I wrote something about it. So that's what it's UPSC, right? It's a wholesome game. So whatever I wanted to, I did research. I searched for something. My traveling part helped me in writing GS1 answer. But even if you don't know, right? See, sometimes uh, for this kind of questions, sometimes we won't be having the information. So you shouldn't be hard on ourselves also. And sometimes you can write something related to it and leave. But always few questions. See, these are the bounces in geography. But there are some few questions where you can always link to a particular syllabus. See, for example, sometimes see questions comes in internal security, sometimes environment disaster management. So if you able to link it to the syllabus and answer it in frameworks and dimensions, you can do. But for this, the bounces, many people leave. I also used to leave these kind of questions. Yeah.
Sir, I've seen one of your full length test. In that I found out a keyword like feminization of poverty. Those kind of keywords, where can we find them? Is there any specific resource where we can find collection of all these words?
Yeah.
Searching in newspapers takes a lot of time. Right?
Yeah, good question. Uh, yes, that frameworks and that catchy sociological vocabulary toppers. Okay, so after 2020 attempt, so when I got low marks, right, so it took a lot of time to analyze their. So first resource is this previous year toppers answers copies. I learned a lot from them, and a few things are the answer scripts. For example, I enrolled for sociology optional test series this year in Shankar IAS, in 2022 in Vision IAS. So those synopses also will give you these kind of catchy frameworks and vocabulary. So my base was that only because no standard book kind of these gives this. What I used to write, see, these didn't come naturally to me. I used to note them. So whenever I used to see there, see, whenever have these, analyze these previous year questions or anything, I always have my Evernote open, OneNote open in my phone. So whenever I find this kind of catchy thing, I used to note it down. So when you do this noting down, after few days, a few months, you are able to think and write these catchy frameworks by yourself also. Sometimes I think do that. So toppers copies and synopsis of different things. So yeah, sure.
Immediately after prelims, what did you exactly do, sir? Because you're already mains ready, you completed the syllabus multiple times. So, what exactly did you do between prelims and mains?
See, main study in the sense not 100% ready, main study. So it's like I studied everything that is needed for mains, but you have to do lot of things apart from studying for mains, right? See, main study in the sense I would have written full and test before that itself, but I didn't write. Before prelims, I didn't write full and test. So my main focus between the prelims to mains is few things. I have to revise everything because it's the first time you won't be remembering everything. So you have to revise everything. Second thing is you have to complete the paper in 3 hours. That is the biggest challenge. Because even after prelims, when I wrote test, I took 4.5 hours to complete a paper. I have to make it to 3 hours. Third thing is I have to do value addition. I have to bring that quality of the answers. And still, for when first means there are many knowledge gaps. So you have to fill the knowledge gaps also. So when you're revising, you have to fill the knowledge gaps. So how I followed is in the 3 months, I made a timetable on first I focused on ethics in essay with in that 15-20 days again. So I wrote ethics one full length test, essay I wrote. Then after that maybe like 25-30 days I focused on sociology, then GS. So it's like you have to plan in that way to revise your syllabus multiple times, write full length test, and able to write full length test in 3 hours is also a very good thing, very big thing. Yeah. 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 Yeah, human and economic geography is my main base is PMF IAS only, and apart from PMF IAS, this previous year questions. See, if you see the previous year questions, right, you will see the patterns and how they are asking, because that's the most neglected part I would say, economic and human geography. So see, then after seeing the previous year questions, after seeing the syllabus decode, right, so you'll know. See, there are like location of industries. So I noted down all the industries which I need to do. So I googled it something here and there. I found examples, and then resources. In resources, mineral resources is there, and it is land is also resource, water is also resource, forest is also resource. So this syllabus I have like written, and I collected some content for each of them, because like even I say PMFIAS or anything is not enough for human and economic geography. I did a lot of googling, I did a lot of search in different websites, and I prepared content for it. Yes. Mm. Mm. No, I didn't make any notes for prelims. So, see, for example, polity, for prelims, I used to read from my mains notes itself. Plus, I didn't read much in 2022, like I didn't have notes. In 2023, so in the 20 days, I used the Sunya as short notes. Because so these are like quick revision thing. I don't say it's a foundational thing. That helped me because my foundation is strong. I gave mains. So that quick revision I did in those 20-25 days using Sunya IAS Institute short notes. I found them helpful only. Like when you read content, so this for revision these are good. These are very consistent. These are good.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, apart from the newspaper and PT 365, did you followed any monthly magazines or you because PT 365 will be released by month of February like that. So did you follow any magazines or you directly refer to the PT 365?
No, see, for example, after every month, I think this monthly magazine of Vision will be released by 10th or 15th of the next month. So I used to read monthly magazines. Read in the sense not to sit extensively and read in one place. So like I used to open in my phone. I used to in my free time I used to just to scroll things of what it is there and those things.
One more question, sir.
Mm.
Sir, at the stage of interview, like what about the optional sociology? How it will be helpful during the interview stage?
Yes. See, a lot of times they can ask direct questions from sociology. It's like, see, for example, who is your favorite sociologist? Apply your sociological knowledge to solve one problem in the society. Maybe difference from sociology to anthropology. See, they can ask anything like sociology, right? So, what are the optional? They can ask you maybe either direct questions related to that core subject. They will ask a lot of questions on social issues, maybe issues of women, issues of like maybe child labor thing and all those things. They can ask a lot. Mm. Yeah, sure.
Like full length test series for the optional. When did you start the test series, sir?
Yeah. So for full length test series, right? I wrote in 2022. For optional, I wrote in 2022 only. Only for GS, I wrote after prelims. So my optional thing, so I told right, May to September 2022, 2021 I did study. So after reading something, I wrote a full length test. Yes. Mm. Yes. 1022. No, no, that see, I was like in OBC category. That 920 is the cutoff, I guess. 920, 21 is the cutoff that time. Mm. So, yeah. Any other questions? Yes. Okay. You mean the correctness of the answer? Okay, see, see, one thing is this UPSC is a gray area. So it's just not like there's a correct or incorrect answer. Okay, it's like what is the most suitable answer? What is the most see, because there's nothing like incorrect thing. But how do you, if I have to say, how do you say like correctness of the answer? Is see, you shouldn't be very wrong in interpreting the question. So that will be entirely incorrect. So first thing is interpretation of the question, demand of the question is a fundamental thing. And second thing, the relatability and the multidimensionality of the answer. See, there's nothing like an incorrect, but you have to make like a perfect thing in the answer. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So it says I did Jan 2022. So after preparing for GS, after preparing for optional, I did essay. So essay also I used, I think in YouTube, this Smitisha ma'am, that how to write essays, free videos are there. So from that, I and some other institutes also, I think some insights, the Vinay sir, there are many free YouTube videos. From that only I learned how to write essays, and I took test series in January itself from Vision IS. So I wrote 3-4 essays. It's like it was single essay test. So I wrote 3-4 tests in Jan 2022 itself. Yeah. Because it's very important to like see before completing GS preparation, right? At least 70 to 80% of GS preparation. It doesn't make much uh, thing to start essay, because the essay is like combination of all your GS knowledge and your some newspaper knowledge. So once you are in the journey for few months after reading certain GS, you can start with essays. Yes. Can you please repeat the question? Mm. Okay. So daily, as in say, see, I used to have this weekly goals. In this week, so how I used to follow is Monday to Friday, Monday to Saturday, maybe I'll read new thing. Sunday is like a revision day for me. So I used to have a weekly goals that. So I decoded right this much of syllabus. Uh, in this month, I used to complete this. In this month, I used to complete optional. So in that particular, I used to have weekly targets. In this week, I have to complete these topics for sure. So the daily routine for me it is entirely different. I used to read only in the evenings because morning used to do office work and all. So the day there is no such thing as a routine for me. So I won't be able to answer. But there are the targets for weekly targets, and I made myself accountable to that weekly targets, monthly targets. And one more important thing, maybe I missed to tell is. Revision is very important, and you should have a one day in your week completely for revising the topics you read in that particular 5 to 6 days, because see it's a lot of new information coming and hitting your brain, and if you don't have a proper revision thing, right, it's very that big goal, that big syllabus will become more complex. Yes. Not all the time. See, because see, uh, I do myself like to achieve that, but in many cases it won't be achievable. You have to adjust your plan in that way, because see, because we can't anticipate things, right? Sometimes certain subjects takes longer time to read and like to understand. Sometimes some subjects you can easily understand, so we can't anticipate things. So we should be flexible. I used to have a buffer days. That okay, I used to plan this weekly. I have to plan. Maybe if not, I will be having some buffer days. So that's why some main topics also I'm unable to complete before prelims. Some topics not thoroughly. I didn't do it thoroughly. So in that way, so it's always we miss the targets. It's part. We can't always be accurate with the things, right? It's okay. Any more questions? Yes. So honestly, I was not that calm in my first films, so I shouldn't lie also. But see, the calmness comes from the confidence in your preparation. How much confident, how much satisfied you are with your preparation, that much confidence you will be in the examination hall. So the confidence doesn't come in the examination hall. The confidence comes whatever you did from last 1 year. And second thing is, uh, second thing is again you shouldn't make anything bigger and more complex. So you should just focus on the process. Say for example for prelims, what you need to do, one question at a time. Even if it goes wrong, you will have 99 questions other to solve. So if you develop this mindset of thing, and if you solve enough mock test, I think that confidence will come. It comes with practice only. It's just not come. So you should practice enough things, enough number of tests, read to get that confidence in the examination hall. And interview also same thing. You need to do like some mock interviews. I did lot of like not mock interviews, but we used to discuss with friends. So we used to take like daily 25-30 minutes interview between among us. So that daily practice, right? See, it gives you confidence. So you know that acha, like I can't do anything more than this. Yeah. I think okay. Yes, uh, I would say it's extremely stressful. But over the year, I developed a mindset that I have nothing to lose in this UPSC preparation. So that is the first mindset thing I changed. And second thing is going in the second attempt and everything. I learned that see uh, and first thing before telling this, see, obviously, see, for example, uh, if you're not satisfied with your preparation, your work will be get affected. If you're not performing well in your work also, your UPSC preparation will get affected. So that stress will be a lot to take, and because at the end of the day, you'll be losing in both of them also. Yeah. So how I'm able to stress is, for example, again same thing. I didn't focus on the results. Especially after first attempt, I didn't focus on the results. Second attempt, I thought that whatever I could do for the exam, I'll identify few areas where I'm missing. I'll work on them. I'll work on the process. So when I literally they're saying that when you don't think of the results, right, everything will be beautiful. Like literally, actually, it helps. So I didn't think of the results. I just followed what need to be done, how I need to improve. Yeah, and second thing, so I used to take time off even in these busy schedules. I used to take time off, and I used to have some thing called like meditation and walking that actually helps calms you a lot because you won't be boggled out on these things. And third thing, I later developed a mindset that I treated my job as an asset, not as a liability in this UPSC process because I have nothing to lose and I have something to fall back, and so in those ways. Yes. Diagram flowcharts. No, I was never comfortable with flowcharts. I never tried flowcharts also. I was unable to do. Actually, I thought of trying, but I was unable to do. So I did only see. That's what I'm saying. Always content is the king. These flowcharts, everything comes later. See, it's okay to present in a like point-wise structure manner. I think that helps a lot. So just flowchart sometimes just to fill the pages with a little effort. So don't go first. Always treat your content is the thing. Next, after all this presentation things comes. So even if you're not good at something, it's okay because see, I'm not good at maps. I won't be able to draw the maps very good. In many questions, I miss the maps. So maybe the GS also didn't score, GS1 also didn't score high because I was not good with the maps. So it's okay. You can balance it something else, somewhere else. Yes. Oh, okay. So interview, I mentioned trekking. So and I play cricket and football. So these are the three things I mentioned. So my is all these sports heavy hobbies, unidimensional hobbies. Yeah. So only these. No, it's like how many hobbies you have, you can mention those. So you can't create hobbies also, right? So for example, prioritize. So it's like what you're good at and think objectively that where you can answer questions. If something, for example, some and also first don't mention the obvious things. If you have so many, don't mention the obvious things. Mention things which are different from others. So that will be catchy and they can ask the questions. If I mention the obvious ones, right? I mentioned the obvious ones. I didn't get any questions from the hobbies. Okay. So this time at least may I got 2-3 questions from football. Last year though I didn't get any. Don't mention the obvious ones. Mention the different things you have and prioritize where you have a knowledge and where you can learn something. Okay, and see, one thing I observed is it doesn't matter what you fill in DAF anyway. The interview scores. Even a person with no hobbies get good marks. Even a person with a lot of hobbies might not get good marks. It's all that the impression you make in 30 minutes with some conversation. It's just like a starting point to conversation, right? You're mentioning your hobbies. So that's it. So don't look that if you fill the DAF with so many pointers, you'll be getting good marks. No. It's just even with no hobbies, you can get good marks. There's a scope. See, that's what. See, interview, you can't expect anything. You can ask any questions. See, my 2 interviews went on random lines. Nothing from graduation, nothing from home state. I think especially 1-2 questions related to some my work, I guess, but nothing from graduation, nothing from home state, nothing from hobbies, nothing from optional. Okay, So you can't expect anything in the interview. It's sometimes questions go completely out of the DAF. Sometimes questions are completely related to the DAF. Yeah, and there's no guarantee that if questions are related to the DAF, you'll get good marks. There's no guarantee like that in any way. Yes. Exactly. So other thing is previous year questions. After previous year questions, so whenever I did completely this subject, like for example, when I completed polity, right? I used to take previous year questions. I used to write them, but I didn't evaluate with them anyone. But optional, I take test series in the before prelims itself. So these are all the things. So whenever I read something, when I feel that one subject I completed it like read 1 2 times, then I write answers. No, sometimes before making notes also, because when you write some answers, you will get clarity. So it's different for different subjects. Sometimes some things I used to make notes. Some things I used to make notes later point of time. It's like that. Yeah. Yeah. So GS answers, see, in the initial times I didn't evaluate anything. So it just I wrote, I left it. I just when I'm reading previous year toppers answers, right, I'll get an idea of how to write. So it's like that only. But actual evaluation done when I wrote for institutes, and in my second attempt to improve the answers, I took daily answer writing practice plan from I think that institute is in Pune. Some 30 to 40 days, I did daily 2 answers, daily 2 to 3 answers. That is my second attempt. So it's just like to give that headache to somebody to evaluate. We can do it on our own also, but not much of a time that way. Yes. I think your mic is off.
As prelims is in less than 30 days, what will you suggest for those who are giving this attempt?
See, in these last 30 days, I won't advise to read anything new. And that's the important thing. Things not to do. And second thing is revise the static subjects where you can score easily. See, polity, economy, and that physical geography thing, where the questions are more conceptual and more can come from the syllabus, static syllabus. Read that thoroughly, like revise it. Third thing is do the previous year questions. I would say 2013 to 2023. Do the previous year questions. It's not like reading the question and seeing the answer, but see how can you arrive at a solution. Even if you know the answer sometimes, what is your thought process in arriving at the solution? So focus on this a lot. Previous year questions, static syllabus, and write mock test. But don't just write mock test, go and writing. Revising syllabus, previous year questions, maybe in the 30 days, you can write 3 4 mock test. Maybe it depends on you, but write few mock tests, revise the syllabus, and current affairs. Don't read any new current affairs which you haven't read before. Don't go running after the resources. Maybe whatever the resource you are following for current affairs, just revise them once again. I think that's the thing I will be doing. Yes. Yeah. I agree. Some history. You're saying history and geography, right? Yeah, yeah. So history, it's boring. I would say. But what I did is, how I used to do history is, I used to imagine myself being living in that period and reading that. So it's just if you go back in time, it's like time travel, and if you read there, right, it's just like seeing the society around you. how you see, Indian society we won't feel bored, right? You will feel bored, no. History is also same thing, but it's like analyzing society at previous point of time. So let your mind do the time traveling thing and being in the shoes of those people. See, when you say like when you're reading the social religious life, imagine yourself, you're being there and see that how things are there, how do you feel when you read those? If you have to experience those, how do you feel? So have this mindset, I think this trick helps. And another thing, geography. I don't know, geography I always felt interesting. So especially physical or human economic geography, because see, geography is the base for everything. See, like maybe our state is like this because of geography. The culture evolves because of geography. Geopolitics evolve because of the geography. The industries evolves because of the particular geography. So always have that interest in geography, I would say, because geography determines a lot of things. How we live. See, for example, today climate like rain, nobody came, right? Many people. So always geography impacts us in a lot of ways. So always have that curiosity in geography. Yeah. Yes. What are my revision stages? Yeah, I used to like do multiple revisions, but since I have my own notes, so revision became very easy. So I used to like see, I'll say starting to ending point. Mains 2023, I reached a certain stage that I could revise 2 GS subjects in one day with my own notes. So this is how your revision should evolve. So it's like, see, if your first revision is taking X amount of time, your second revision should take maybe X by 1.5, X by 2 point of time. So always the revision you have to minimize the time for your revision, even if it's prelims or mains. And the revision it will differ from subject to subject. Some subjects I will be strong in, I will be needing less revision. Some, see for example, topics like history, art and culture needs a lot of revision. Sometimes topics like things which are more analytical doesn't need much revision because you don't have much to remember. So it differs. But multiple revisions, at least I would say 3 to 4 revisions for prelims. I don't know, it depends from person to person. But I should say that you should reach a stage where you can revise entire general studies for mains in one day. 1 GS, one day kind of. So 4 days, 4 GS, one day optional paper 1, optional 2. You should do in such a way. So then that means that will come when you have own notes. Yes. Thank you. This career path. Yeah, see lot of things. See, one thing is like there are many personal things also, but if I see in a career point of view, I don't like from career point of view, this gives that lot of diversity in the like it won't become unidimensional. See, some careers become unidimensional because if I'm in technical field, see that will be the unidimensional thing. So, but these things, right? It will be like very diverse area, and actually you can get to works on the things that matters to the people at large. So this gives lot of scope, like problem solving abilities. You will give it gives you a platform uh, to have to really provide a solutions to some people to change impacts lives, the scalability nature of the civil services, the impactful nature. So and so these are the things if you see from a career oriented view, and then there will be many personal things also on the personal levels which motivates people. Yes. Yeah, so this always in a question, always will be in a self-doubt. The only thing is, see for example, I did a lot of toppers blogs, videos. I used to see before I started preparation itself. I used to follow certain tips from them. So that's the first thing. And second thing, assessment. So you have to write, see that's what, right? See, for example, whenever I read a subject, I do previous year questions. If I am able to understand the demand of the question, if I am able to write few points on that, so that means I am studying correctly, I am reading correctly. Same for prelims also. If I am able to solve the questions, if I am able to improve my marks from each mock test to another mock test, that means I am following the process correctly. It's always it comes from assessment only. But even after that, we always get in a doubt. But it will be there because of the uncertainty nature of the exam. But always do your assessment, self-assessment, and how to improve. I think that will help. I think any more questions? No? Okay. Thank you all for being patient. First of all. Yeah, I think it's almost 3 hours, I guess, more than 3 hours, little bit more than 3 hours. Yeah, thank you everybody for attending. I think at least you can take something out at the end of the session, and maybe I'll be very happy if it even helps you people a little bit. Okay, thank you so much, and all the very best in all your future endeavors, and I hope I all see you in flying colors. Okay, and I see you all in this side of the stage giving the talk, and helps other people in the future. Yeah. Thank you so much.